Last thing I checked, it was on site when I saw Chyna.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Touchy Subject. I am your host, Lena the Plug, and today I'm sitting with the beautiful Heather Sanders, and I'm kind of happy because you're as nervous as I am right now.
I'm so nervous. I've never done a podcast except
that is amazing to me. I feel like you should be you should have been on a million podcasts.
Oh my gosh, I think it's like a new thing now. So it's like everybody's kind of catching on to the wave.
I was trying to research you, and I was like, there's so much to learn because you've had such a long online presence. You've been on social media for a very long time. And so I was like, okay, I'll start with a podcast. And then I was like, wait, there is none, which is kind of good because we could talk about anything. And there's so many things I want to learn about you. I know you in real life, but I feel like there is a lot I still don't know about you.
Yeah.
And obviously, T-Rell, your not husband, your fiance, right? Works with my fiance. And he is here. And your assistant Jalen is also here. So now we have an audience. Tell me about your life growing up, where you're from, how many siblings you have.
So I'm from Dallas, Texas. Fort Worth. Well, actually Fort Worth. Terrell hates when I say Dallas. He's like, you're not from Dallas. You're from Fort Worth. I'm from Fort Worth, Texas. It's kind of like LA and like Woodland Hills, Calabasas. I have 4 sisters.
Jesus.
And a really big family. I grew up in a really like close-knit, tight family and real country Texas girl.
All girls.
All girls.
Were you guys constantly fighting about borrowing each other's clothes and like you f***ed up my shirt, give it back?
Always.
Oh my God. I feel like that's like all my sister and I fought about. Are you guys really close in age, all of you?
Yeah, we're all close in age except the last one, Whitney. She's like 9 years late.
Oh wow.
So, yeah, my mom just had her like random, which is probably what I'll do. I had all my 3 kids pretty much close together, and then my last one, since Terrell doesn't want to have any kids, is probably going to be a while from now.
Okay, because I was going to ask you that. So you have 3 kids, and so you want one more, you want 4 kids.
I want 4 kids because you just have to even it out. It just bothers me.
My grandmother, who is so superstitious, says the same thing to me, but it's so funny to me that you have the same opinion as her.
Yeah, it bothers me. I'm just like, it's just an odd number. I just have to even it out, and I just want one more boy. I'm like, if I had 2 girls and 2 boys, I would just be in heaven. Like, it'd just be...
And if you have another girl...
I wouldn't mind.
You wouldn't mind? You just want 4?
Yeah, I just want 4. My mom had 4 girls.
Was she trying for a boy?
Yeah, she's like, I never got a boy. So when we got Zane, she was so happy. Everybody loves Zane because I just grew up with all girls. I mean, I had a stepbrother, but he was just like, we'd see him here and there.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the most part, it was just all of us girls. And we've never had like been around a boy. Like my mom's like, I've never even changed a boy's diaper. So it was all exciting when I had Zane.
That's for me too. My sister's had her son and I'm like, oh my God, boy parts. Like I have to figure out what I'm doing here.
It's scary. Like even this morning I was like, he woke up, I was getting him dressed for school and it was just like full on. And I'm like, Zane, I'm like, bruh. I'm like, but he doesn't know, you know?
Of course
like,
not.
Oh my gosh.
But it's funny because Adam was like that when Parker was born. He was like, oh my God, what is this? Like, I don't know what to do. I don't want to see it. And I'm like, relax, you're her dad. It's okay. So I feel like I have to get over that when I have a boy too for myself.
Yeah. Adam is such a boy.
He's such a dude.
He's such a dude. Yeah. Like, I don't know.
Do you have any issues with Adam? Because I feel like as him working with your partner might mean that you might have some issues with him.
No, I love Adam. And
he likes to cause drama though.
He likes to cause drama, but that's his job, you know.
Don't defend him.
I know, right? But I mean, he's always treated Terrell like with respect and so nice. And every time I come around, he's so nice to me. Terrell's like, oh, y'all are white. He likes you because you're white. My mom's white. But you would never know that just looking at me. You would think I was black.
Adam is definitely not thinking that at all.
He's saying like because I act white, I guess. Like he's like, you act white. They know you're white. That's why they like you. I'm like, Terrell, I'm just nice.
Yeah, no, I feel like Adam respects you too because you have like your own thing going. Yeah. And so that's why he's also really nice to you. You know, he's so nice. You're not some like girl who's just trying to hang out at the No Jumper office. You know, like you have your whole career.
Yeah.
Which let's start talking about because I'm always curious about people who, you know, everyone sees you and you have this finished product. You have a very successful business, many businesses actually, but like what led up to that? Because you must have tried and failed at a few things before you actually did something and it worked, you know?
Actually, I never failed.
Never.
Which is surprising. I mean, I've had like hard times in my business that I've had to like learn how to get through. But when I started, I never failed.
But you were trying to be a rapper at one point.
Oh. I mean, yeah, maybe I might have failed at that. I mean,
well, because when I saw your video rapping, I was like, oh, like this is something in her past that she was trying to make happen, trying to do out of a career, but it didn't work out, or she gave up on it. So like,
well, it's like me and my friend, like, his name is Stet, and we were just always together, and that was his dream, was to be a rapper. And I was always at his house, and at the time I had a job down the street from his house, so I was like, can I live with you for like 2 weeks because I have to train at this job? And he's like, yeah, come live with me. So I stayed with him. He had a second bedroom for me to live in, and after he got off of work and after I got off of work, we were trying to make it out of Dallas. So
How old were you at the time?
I was about probably like 18.
Okay.
I had just graduated high school, and his dream was to be a rapper, and he loved it. And I was like, well, can you write me a verse? And he was like, yeah. And he wrote me a verse, and he was like, okay. So he had a booth in his closet, and we recorded it in his closet. And he was like, no, Heather, like, he's like, you have to sound like this. He was like really pushing me, because he's like, you're actually good, Heather. Like, you sound good.
Yeah.
And he played it back for me. And
was it so weird to hear yourself rapping?
Yeah, I hate hearing myself talking, much less rapping. So I was like, okay, like I did it. And then he's like, we have to shoot a music video. I was like, what? How are we going to shoot a music video? He was like, I'll shoot it. We shot it on his MacBook, and he edited it, and then we put it out. And I was like, it's actually not bad. I was like, it's actually kind of good.
So this went up on like MySpace, because that was
it was like MySpace days, Twitter days, and we dropped it on there. And it did good. Like, it had some good views on YouTube, and everybody was saying, I got a lot of positive feedback, but that was the only thing I ever did.
So you just did that one song with him?
Yeah, just that one for fun.
Did you get like a little MySpace famous from it?
I was kind of famous on MySpace.
Oh.
Me and him, like, we were in like a little group, and we would all go on like Tiny Chat. I think it was a Tiny Chat, and like we were all like on each other's top 8 on MySpace, and we kind of just had like a good MySpace and Twitter presence. And that's how we kind of met, because we were all from different states, and we're like, we have to get together. And then he was like, I moved to Dallas, like, you know, come hang out with me or whatever. And I moved, and we would get on
So you're like a true social media OG. I
think so.
That's crazy that you had like a little wave going on MySpace too.
Yeah.
And was it under Heather Sanders?
No, my name was Hot Yela.
Hot Yela. So I only found this out because Adam is always on the No Jumper Reddit. And so I was like, what is Adam looking at on the No Jumper Reddit? I'm going to go look at it. And then I was like, oh, Heather was a rapper. I would have never guessed. Do you hate the Reddit?
I don't know what Reddit is. I just hear T-Rell talking about it. I've never been on Reddit or anything.
It's like just a forum where you like where you can like literally search any question you want. Like, I'll go on there and look at tips for TikTok or whatever. There's always some group of people talking about something on there. So there's one just dedicated to No Jumper, and the people in there, I don't know how they find like everything on the deep dark corners of the internet, but if you've done anything online, they're gonna fucking find it.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad I've never done anything crazy online.
No,
I've done a few embarrassing things, but it's a part of my come up. It's a part of my journey.
Yeah,
you know?
No,
so
definitely.
I don't regret anything that's online.
I mean, the reason I got popular was because I made a stupid ass video that said I'll make a sex tape when I hit 1 million subscribers. So like when you look me up, I'm like sex tape at 1 million girl. Like, it was so viral.
You know what? I would never think like just meeting you, because I didn't know anything about you or Adam until I met you guys, and then T-Rell kind of gave me the backstory. But I would never think that you were like we're like in the field that you're in.
I mean, at that time when I made the video, I was just taking like pictures of my boobs like in the shower. Like, I wasn't doing like real porn. But yeah, I had no intention of like doing porn. And then when I put that video out, I didn't mean for it to go viral, but it did. And so that's what became my thing, you know?
Yeah.
But okay, so you did this one rap thing with your friend.
Yeah.
And what else are you doing at the time? So you're just like working a regular job?
Yeah, so I'm just working at this car auto loan place. And I would call people and tell them that they're late on their car payment and that I need it now. So
they hated you.
Yeah, basically I got cussed out every day. But I was doing that, and I was living at my mom's house, and I was just trying to figure it out. Like I know I didn't want to be in Texas. I didn't know where I wanted to go. I had like guys that I would talk to in Atlanta, and I was back and forth to Atlanta. I was like, oh, maybe I'll move here. And then I met Tyrell on Twitter. And
this is the story I'm waiting for. How did this happen?
So
he hit you up on Twitter.
He said this on the internet, so I'll say it again. He's like, he calls me like a Young Money groupie. But at the time, my best friend Stet was around Lil Twist, and he was with Young Money. And so I was always around him. He was teaching me like who Young Money is. And like, of course I knew who Lil Wayne was. And, you know, so I just kind of followed everybody that was in the camp, in the group. And this guy was like the only one that kind of like followed me back and like DM'd me and stuff.
So T-Rell was associated.
He was associated with Young Money
at the time. Okay, so I didn't know this.
Yeah, he was Tyga's friend, and Tyga was with Young Money.
Oh,
and
okay. See, I don't have a lot of rap knowledge. I'm like, Tyga was with you. Okay, that makes sense to me now.
So he slid in my DMs, and he was like, I'm going to be in Texas. And I'm like, or he's like, I'm going to be in Texas. I was like, okay, Texas is huge. Yeah. What part are you going to be in? He's like, I'm going to be in El Paso. I was like, well, I'm not from El Paso. I'm from Dallas, Texas. So whenever you're there, like, holla at me, whatever. And so he's like, okay. And then he was like, hey, like, I'm coming to Dallas. And I was like, okay. But at the time, I was talking to somebody in his crew already. And both of them had texted me like, hey, we're both going to be here. Like, I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here. So I had a date with two guys. And I spent most of my date with him. And the other guy was more famous. And he's like, where are you? Like, you told me that you would be here at 11 p.m. Like, where are you? And I didn't get to his room until about like 7 a.m. the next morning because I was with Tyrell.
Scandalous.
Yeah. And it was fun though. I was just like living my life. I'm like,
and like you don't know what relationship is gonna go where, and so you kind of just have to keep your options open.
But exactly. So prior to me and him meeting, we had been talking for a very long time. Like we were talking for at least like 4 months.
Just before. On Twitter,
just like on the phone and like Skype and stuff before we met each other. So I already had a connection to him.
Yeah, wow, that's like a long time to be talking to someone that you've never even met before and keep pursuing it. Like there must have really been something there.
Yeah,
the whole time.
It was just fun. Yeah, you know. So he was like, okay, I'm here, whatever. So we hung out, and then I was like, you know what? I have to be somewhere, so I have to leave. And after that, he never talked to me because he kind of knew who I was talking to in his group. I don't know how, but he just knew, and he just stopped talking to me. And I'm like, oh no, like I ruined it with the guy that I really want to talk to, trying to like play both sides. And he didn't talk to me for like a month or two. And then Tyga had tweeted, I'm going to be in Houston on this date. And I was like, I'm driving to Houston. So I rented a car and I drove to Houston. I'm like, I'm going to get this guy. Because he wouldn't write me back. He wouldn't call me back. He wouldn't call me on Skype. Like he just ghosted me. And I was like, I'm going to get this guy. So I showed up at the club and I texted him. I'm like, hey, I'm outside of this club. And I sent him a picture. And within minutes, he was like outside of the club, like getting me.
Wow. Do you think that you really wanted to pursue it with him because he rejected you? Or was it because like you really, really, really liked him?
Because I really, really liked him. And with the other guy, I knew what it was, you know? And with him, I'm like, he's the one that actually like is like giving me like what
is more real.
Yeah. So,
So that patched things up right away with you guys?
It patched things up. After that, we were like inseparable after that day. And I'm like, dang, I had to drive 4 hours away, rent a car, have my dad rent me a car because I was like underage for the insurance thing. So my dad had to rent me a car. And I drove like 80 miles per hour there. I'm like, I'm getting there in 3 hours. It's like a Vegas trip. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm getting to Houston. And I got there and I was like, if it falls through, I have other guys in Houston I can call.
But that's like a lot of effort for a guy. And you don't know if he's going to come out of the club. You don't know if he's actually going to reject you or not.
Does he really hate me? But for some reason, I knew he just didn't really hate me. I'm like, he just is being, hard-headed.
Yeah. So that story must have made T-Rell feel really good. Her driving that far to come see you.
Yeah, and I don't tell that story ever.
That's a cute story.
Yeah.
So how long ago was that?
That was like 2010.
And you guys have just been together ever since.
Basically.
Did you get out of Texas after that?
I was in Texas for like a year and some change after that.
Did you guys just do long distance the whole time then? Okay.
It was like whenever he was here, like we, get together, we talk on the phone.
What do you think you
every
guys
day.
really like connected over? Because for me, I feel like I'd have a really hard time doing long distance with somebody and being able to hold on to something with them.
I don't know. It just was like I was bored. I worked every day. I was in Texas. Nothing was popping. Like I'm just like, whatever. I'll talk to this guy on Skype and like while I'm at work. And he always wanted to talk to me. I'm like, how can you spend this much time on the phone with me?
Yeah.
And he had a girl at the time too. Well, he had a baby mama. Okay. And he was like, oh, well, like, I'm just like, we're not like what it is. Like, we're not like what you think it is. And I'm like, okay. So I was talking on the phone with him while he was at his baby mama's house. Like whenever he was not on tour, he was at his baby mama's house. And my dumb ass was still talking to him just because we had a good conversation and we vibed over the phone. And like, I don't know. It was just like at a time I was just like, YOLO, like, the internet was new a little bit at the time, and it was just like I don't know, like he was just like my friend, but like we liked each other and like we'd hook up.
I've only seen you guys around each other like a handful of times, but you guys still seem like super duper duper in love with each other. And when I saw you in the back at the No Jumper show just screaming your head off for him, I was like, oh, there is like no love lost between the two of them. No. Even after all this time, it's like as strong as ever, it seems.
And I think it's because we were just friends and like we talked for so long before we even met each other. And then after that, we were just friends for a really, really long time. And like we just would talk to each other all day. And I'm like, when is he gonna ever ask me to be my girlfriend? Like, ask
that
him.
question.
Yeah, like when is he ever gonna ask? Because I'm at this point, I've dropped every guy that I've had, and like I just like put all my attention into him, and I'm like, when's he ever gonna call me his girlfriend? And then one day, he like him and like Brittany Dailey. I don't know if you know Brittany Dailey. She's like at the time she was like a video vixen, and she was around like his friends Low, and she did like the Deuces video and stuff, and her and T-Rell were like really close, and she's like, I really think that you should make this girl your girlfriend. And he had like put something on Twitter and was like, just got off the phone with like Brittany Dailey and like my mind's made up or whatever. And I looked at the tweet because at the time I was refreshing Twitter like every second, and I'm like, what's this tweet about? And then he called me and he's like, do you want to be my girlfriend? And I'm like, oh, I'm like, yes, I would love
finally,
to.
You finally asked me.
Yeah. And then Brittany's like, I'm on the phone, Heather. I told him to do it. I told him that he should ask you to be your girlfriend. And then I'm like, okay, it's official. And so then I would go back and forth to LA, and I just was like, oh, like this is the life. Like, wow, I'm in California. I'm in LA, like, wow, I'm in like a BMW, I'm in a mansion, like I made it.
Your life you wanted.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, the life I always wanted, I have it. And then he was like, you have to move here. Like I would go back and forth for about a year. He'd come to my house, and then he was like, the last time I was like breaking down at the airport, and I'm like, I do not want to go home. Like I don't want to go back to my job. He's like, he was crying too. He's like, this is the last time you're ever going to have to go back, like leave this airport. He's like, this is the last time. I'm like, okay. And so after that, when I landed, he was like, I really think you should move here. He's like, you need to start saving all your money and like just move here. And I'm like, okay. But I'm like, well, where am I going to live?
Yeah.
Because you don't even have a house. He lived with Tyga. And I'm like, where am I going to live? He's like, you with me? And I'm like, your friends aren't going to care? And he's like, no.
Moving into a rap house?
Yeah, it was like him. It was 3 guys in the house. And so I was like, okay. And I never had talked to Tyga or his other friend SB about it ever. Like, is it sure that I'm okay, that I'm coming? I just trusted T-Rell. He's like, everything's going to be fine. Just come. So I saved my money for about like 6 to 7 months. And I had went to California with $10,000. And then at the time I had a raggedy hoopty car. And I'm like, how am I going to drive this car out here?
Oh, shit.
He was like, no, you're going to go trade that car and get a new car. I'm going to give you my last $5,000. Go get a new car so we can drive out here. I'm like, okay. So he basically bought me a car. I mean, it was leased, but he gave me the down payment for the car. And then like 2 weeks after I bought the car, he flew to Texas and we packed my stuff up And we left. And I had all my stuff packed. And he was like, what is all this? He was like, this is not going to fit in the car. I'm like, well, this is everything I'm taking. He was like, you are not taking none of this. I really felt like a Kim and Kanye moment. I mean, I had a lot of stuff. I was a teenager girl. Like I had all, you know, I thought I couldn't live with anything. I had all my clothes, shoes. He's like, this is disgusting. This is disgusting. You cannot bring this to California. He's like, people are going to laugh at you if you wear these shoes. Like, just leave it here.
I would be so hurt. How did you get over that?
I didn't. I mean, I got to California and I felt so much pressure. I'm like, oh God, like he threw away all my clothes. I have nothing to wear. And it was on me. I mean, the Kim and Kanye part, he wasn't Kanye and replaced my whole closet. He bought me a couple Steve Madden shoes and that was it. So it was up to me to go find outfits because we were always on the move. Like we were always out, always.
Doesn't that stress you out? Like you cannot wear the same thing again too, and you really like something or you spend a lot of money on. I still feel like I have that problem where I'm like, what is the point of buying the really, really nice designer hat if whatever brand makes something that looks a little similar to it and it's a lot cheaper?
I know. Well, you know, that's why I started Sorella, because I didn't have money and I couldn't afford to dress a certain way. So I would shop at the Sloss and Swap Me and try to get like cheap clothes and try to look cute because we were always around famous people. Yeah. And so for me to be put into that environment from where I was from and just every day at a studio, at a house party, at whatever we're going to, I just was like, fuck, I'm not dressed. Like
I know. It's like you get that feeling of being like kind of like a fraud almost. Like, what am I doing? But you have the face card. So for you, it's like, you can wear whatever.
At least that. I mean, he was like, just put on black. He was like, whatever you do, just put on black. It's okay. But yeah, when I started Sorella, I'm like, I want to have something that's on trend and affordable for the regular girl. And so I just have lived by that since 2012.
And you wear like Sorella all the time, right? Even though obviously you can afford more than Sorella.
Yeah, like I don't wear expensive clothes. Like the only thing I'll spend my money on is a bag, which I'm not really big on bags, but a couple of bags I'll want here and there, and I'll spend money on that. But I really love sunglasses. And Terrell always told me, I'll never forget, back in the day, he was like, just wear all black. And he was like, make sure that your hair's done. And he was like, make sure you have an expensive purse, expensive pair of shoes, whatever your accessories
are important.
Yeah, he's like, the accessories are important. You can wear whatever you want. And I'm like, okay. And that's just kind of stuck by me too. Yeah. So
he like moved you out here and like trained you.
Yeah, he kind of did. Yeah, he kind of did. But my mom has been training me my whole life and I never knew because we would shop at like the discount stores or like a store like mine now, I would say, like little stores like that was just like super cheap. I feel like the stores that she would take me to shop at is like how I shop like for wholesale stuff that I buy. And it's like that type of stuff. And I'm like, okay, I got this. Like my mom, because she would be like, okay, here's $200. You better go figure out what cheap you can get. And that's all you have. Make it work. And my sister, we would come back and like, okay, this is what I got. This is what I got before we'd check out. And she was like, wow, Heather has so much stuff and you have 5 things and you ran up your $200. And I would have this, that, this, that. So
it was like a little game show.
Yeah. So she was training me. And now, like when I just know how to, I can just pick stuff and like make it cute. Like I'll go to like Pretty Little Things, or I really love Pretty Little Things, or Sorella, or like Amazon, or cheap stores that I can find cute stuff at, like starter brands or whatever.
So tell me about like starting Sorella. Like how did that whole thing happen? Was it an online business first or was it a brick and mortar first?
It was an online business first.
Okay.
So just being around Terrell and all his friends and everybody was successful. They all had like their own something that they were doing. And my parents taught me like to work. Like you grow up, you get a job, you go to work. And so that's all I've ever done, just have a job. So when I came here, I was like, my money's running out. You know, I'm blowing through this $10,000 and I need a job. Because Terrell was like paying the rent and my car payment, the important stuff, but I didn't have money to get my nails done or my hair done or buy a new outfit. So I was like, I gotta go get a job. So I worked at the Yard House downtown and in the Staples Center in LA.
Yeah, I know where that is.
And I worked there just to do that. And I would like, one day I was just like looking at my check and I'm like, oh my God, like my check is $150 for 2 weeks. Like, oh, this is a joke. Like, I can't even do anything with this. And he was like, I don't know why you're going to work. Did nobody tell you to go to work? You just want to do that. I don't know why. You're not in Texas anymore. You don't have to go to work. I'm like, well, how do people survive out here? Everybody that we're around doesn't work. And then one day I was just on tour with him and Tyga, and I was just busted out in tears. And I was like, I have to do something for myself. Like, I can't do this anymore. Even though it was a great experience and we traveled the world and I've been to places that I'll probably never go again, I was just like, I'd rather be home doing my own thing,
making progress on something, feel like there's meaning.
Yeah, than be with y'all, you know? And I tried to make myself like useful, or like never tried to be like a burden, because I was the only girlfriend around. Like,
it's so interesting that you were there, because I just feel like there's so much politics involved and things like that. It's like the guy posse and they just want to be together, and no one brings their girlfriends. And
it was not like that with me. All his friends always treated me like good, and like I was like the homeboy. And I always wanted to be that too. So I tried to like make sure that I would clean up. Like on tour, I would clean the bus. I would go get everything that they didn't eat. Like they have a rider, so the building that they're performing at provides all this food and snacks and stuff for them, and they would just leave it. So I'd make sure, like after the show, like after Tyga would do whatever he had to do, I went and go get the food or whatever, put it on the bus, make sure that the bus like was clean, had a candle lit. I'd make the bed, like I'd wash their clothes, whatever city we're in. I'd find a laundry.
You feel like nervous about being like kicked out? Or
or just like, why is this bitch here? Like, what does she do? She just sleeps in the bunk all day and, you know, is with him. So I tried to just make myself have a job. Because nobody was giving me one. So I'm like, okay, well, this is my job. And I'd go grocery shopping, and I just do as much as I can to make my presence felt like there's a girl here. You know? Because there's nothing like a girl presence. I can go, it never fails, into any man's house, and I'm in there for like an hour, and I'll wash the dishes, I'll light a candle, I'll do something to make it feel
a little nicer.
And I got that from my grandma, because she would always do that. And every time I'd come home from school, I'm like, oh, my granny's here. Like, the house is clean. There's a candle lit. Oh, there's a new pillow right there. Everything's clean.
Yeah, it smells special.
Yeah. And so I knew that made me feel good. I'm like, it has to make other people feel good.
But that didn't feel like enough. And that's when you went
yeah, that didn't feel like enough. So I'm like, I have to do something on my own. So I just started crying. And Charles like, well, we'll figure it out. Like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I have no clue. Like,
and did you have a big following on Instagram yet?
No. Instagram was brand new.
Okay.
So we had like Tyga fans and stuff that knew us, but like I didn't have like anybody from just solely me. And I'm like, I have to have something on my own. So I would write down stuff. He's like, well, what do you like, Heather? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I didn't have a passion for anything. I'm like, I don't know what I want to do. I just want to make my own money, and I don't want to be around y'all no more. And so I was like, you know what? I can sell stripper clothes. Because in Dallas, like I tried to have like I tried to do that, and thank God it just never fully went through. But I was friends with a lot of stripper girls and just like a lot of girls like that. And I would always like find them stuff to wear, like go to the sex stores, find lingerie, like cute little stuff. And I'm like, I can make stripper clothes. And he was like, no. He's like, no, you're not making stripper clothes. And I'm like, okay. And I was like, well, do I have a clothing line? Because at the time, people had clothing line and merch and stuff. And I was like, well, no, because like, who am I? Like, who wants to buy my merch or whatever? And then I was like, well, you know what? I can have a store that sells everything, and I can sell everybody's stuff in here. And I was like, what is that called? And we were like on Google one day, and I was like, what is a store that you can sell different people's brands? It was like a boutique. I'm like, okay, I'm going to start a boutique. That's what I'm going to do. And then I was like, well, how do I start a boutique?
That's the question, is like, how do you get there? Because that's what I think everybody's wondering. Like, how do you go from nothing and not even having a social media following at the time? Because I assumed in my brain, like, oh, she got a lot of followers, and then she was like, I need to capitalize on something. Yeah, I capitalize on this. But you actually, your story's more interesting because it didn't happen that way.
No. So we sat on that idea for like probably like 6 months. It was just like an idea or whatever. And then I was trying to find cheap clothes. So I was at this Lost and Swap meet early in the morning one day. And I asked the little Asian lady that I was buying clothes from, I'm like, where do you get all this stuff? And she was like, downtown, in the shopping, in the fashion district.
Yeah.
And she was like, go to this street. And it was Santee Street. I'm like, okay. So the next day I went, and it was a Saturday, and everything was closed, and there was nothing going down there. I'm like, what is this? Like, she lied to me. Like, what is this place? I was like, Terrell's like, we got to come back on Monday. Let's come back on Monday. So I came back on Monday, and shit was just popping. Like, it was all, the doors were open, clothes outside, mannequins, everyone. I'm like, okay, this is what she was
all
talking
the wholesale
about.
shops for anyone who hasn't been to LA.
Shops.
They're all in the fashion district downtown.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, this is the start. So I went and I bought my first couple packs of clothes, and I'm like, okay, I got my clothes. Now I know I need to start a website, and I need to make a business name. So I started thinking of names, and that was the hardest part. My sister, my half sister Jessica, she actually helped me come up with that name. I was like, what's something that means like beautiful, or like women empowerment, or women sticking together in like different languages? Like, let's get out of the English language. So in Italian, it means beautiful sister. I was like, cool. I didn't even love
that.
it.
I
didn't
love
even
that,
love
though.
it. But
I love
I'm
the
like,
meaning of it.
let's go.
Yeah.
We're going with that. So I'm like, okay, now I have to get all of the business stuff together. So I have to file. I have to make it a business. So where do I go? So then I had to Google, like, how do I register a brand new business? And then I went and got a DBA, which is like the cheapest thing that you can do to start a business, like $30. You go down to
doing
the city.
business as, yeah.
So I got that, and I was like, okay, cool. I got my website. I had my friends shoot my first couple products, and then just was like launched it. And it actually did like really good. But before I launched it, I was selling it to like all Terrell's like play sisters and like friends like from the hood. Mm-hmm. And because that's who I was around the whole time. I didn't know anybody.
Yeah, I was gonna say, who are you marketing to? Like, when you first start, you start a website, but how are you gonna get traffic to
I didn't know anybody. So the only girls that I knew was his sisters, just because I was always like with them, and because I didn't have any friends when I moved out here. So I was always with them, and his sister worked at a hair shop, and she was always doing hair, and it was just a bunch of girls in there. I'm like, I'm gonna call them because it's a bunch of girls, like, and they love to shop. They're the ones who taught me about the swap meet, to go get a cheap outfit, whatever. So I called them. I'm like, hey, I have this jacket. I have this. Within like minutes, they were at my house, and they had bought like literally almost everything.
Oh my God.
I had bought one pack of everything wholesale and a pack of wholesale 6 pieces.
Yeah.
So it was so many different girls, so many different shapes and sizes, that they bought literally almost all my inventory that I had.
How did that feel that first day when you did that?
It felt so good. I'm like, they actually liked it. Like, they actually bought it. Like, I have this much money. I'm like, this is crazy.
So back then, you're picking all the pieces. You're sort of, I guess, facilitating like what the cool style is. Are you still that involved right now in Sorella? Like, you pick everything.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I pick everything. I still buy. Like, I've had buyers, but it's just hard to put like all your trust into somebody. And then if the product doesn't do good, you're like, well, you owe me money because you bought it. So why'd you buy a product?
How often does something not work that you pick out?
A lot.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, it's kind of discouraging because you're like, well, I thought that was cute, and why didn't it sell?
Yeah.
You know, it still happens till this day, but I'm just like, whatever, mark it down on sale and just move on to the next. But yeah, when I first launched it online, I did so good, and I just stayed consistent and was just trying to make stuff that I thought was cute. And, it just took off from there.
And so how many years has Sorella been around now?
12.
Wow.
A decade.
That's crazy. Because I thought it was started with the inception of the store, and Adam's store was like a block or two down. So when I would go to the store, I would go to Sorella, and like I would shop there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just like, when I was like, oh, it's when that pink building came out, that's when Sorella started in my brain. And I always assumed it was like, influencer makes clothing line. But then how did you garner all your online fame then, like after making Sorella, which probably fed back into getting sales at your store?
Well, I would just I had product, and I had to sell it. So I'm like, how do I sell this? Because his sisters had bought everything, and I still have stuff. So I'm like, how do I sell this? And I'm like, Terrell's like, you have to take pictures and post yourself on Instagram. I'm like, okay. So my friend would come over and take pictures of me in every single thing that I had. And I would post a picture every single day. And I'm like, go follow Sorella and like shop Sorella. Like, you know, when Instagram was like brand new. And it just started selling. Yeah, it worked. And I just stayed consistent. And that's why I live by consistency, because I literally did the same thing every single day. I would wake up. I didn't have anything else to do. I'd wake up, I'd do my hair, I'd do my makeup, and I'd put on an outfit, and I'd go take a picture, I'd change, and I'd do it again until I had enough pictures to post every single day for the week. And I would post that and then hope to God I got sales. And then eventually me just posting every day grew my Instagram.
Okay.
And then more people started knowing about me. And then him and Tyga got more famous. So more people started knowing about me. And I was like really big on Tumblr because I had dyed my hair blue. And I went like viral there. And so I think it was just a mix of just everything
fed back into each other. Yeah, because I was going to ask you if there was any big social media moment that like really took off for you, but the blue hair.
It was a blue hair.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a blue hair. And I didn't know it was going to be a thing like it was.
You were just doing what you wanted to do.
Yeah, I was just having fun, dyeing my hair with my friend. And people actually loved it. And I would post pictures on only Instagram. And then I started seeing stuff posted on Tumblr. And I'm like, what is this Tumblr? Like, what is this site? And I went on there, and it was, everybody had my pictures on there and like reposting it and like pinning it and stuff, like, or not pinning
everything
it.
That you were putting up on Instagram every day.
Yeah.
They were just posting it for you.
I'm like, I need to have a presence on this page or on this website. So I made a Tumblr, and I would just make sure I posted on there too. So I just think it was just me being consistent. And
yeah, it's interesting because you're talking about your story of coming to LA, and you're like, I didn't know like how to be around these people and how to dress, and then you basically became sort of like a fashion icon, and your people are posting all your stuff on Tumblr, and you didn't even know about it.
Yeah, like I remember when I was so embarrassed, like trying to do too much. We were around like Chris Brown and like Karrueche at the time. And Karrueche was just like so fly. It was her and her friend Seiko, and they were so fly, and they would just wear like Jordans and like cute little biker shorts or like pants or whatever, cute crop tops. They always wear their hair curly, and it was just like careless, like free, just like swag.
Yeah.
And I would tell Terrell like, they're so cool. Like I really want to dress like them and like be like them. And I remember when I was like, you're trying to wear red bottom heels, because I just died when I got my first pair of red bottom heels.
I got mine like a month ago.
Really?
I didn't ever buy them because I was like, heels hurt. I was like,
they're the most uncomfortable shoe.
Yeah.
I would never buy a red bottom. But I just had
that
to
was
have
your
them.
goal.
That was my goal. And he had bought them for me for my birthday, for my 20th birthday. And I had to do so much to get my foot in that shoe and be comfortable.
Did you get the highest one that they have?
Yeah, the highest one.
Oh, they're so painful.
The peep toe. And I'm just like, I look so dumb. We were at the club one day, and I'm like, I look so dumb because I can't fucking walk. I cannot walk. I look so uncomfortable. I look so dumb. Meanwhile, Karrueche and Seiko are here, swagged out in Jordans, biker shorts, looking so cute, and nobody cares about me. So then I was just like, okay, Heather. Because when you come from Texas and you come to LA, you think like you have to be. It's intimidating when you come here because everybody's already so perfect. And I didn't know about plastic surgery. I didn't know how to get my body done. I didn't know how to change anything about myself.
But I kind of also feel like it's hard to also figure out like what is everyone going to be wearing at this like specific event. There's so many different vibes going on. And for men, it's easy. They literally wear the same thing everywhere they go. And for us, I cannot wear this if you invited me to a bar on Friday night, but I fucking want to. Yeah. But it's not the vibe.
Yeah. And that's how I felt every day. And I'm just like, this is so stressful. And we would literally me and Terrell would have fights about what I'm gonna wear. Like we don't the stuff we fight about is the most stupidest stuff ever. So we would fight like, what am I gonna wear? Like I'm just gonna look so stupid. I would cry. I would have puffy eyes trying to do my makeup.
I cannot believe this, because when I think of you, I'm like, what is Heather gonna be wearing at this event? Heather knows exactly what to wear all the time.
Everybody tells me that, and I'm like, girl, I've been struggling trying to figure out what I'm gonna wear. I'm like crying, sweating, like throwing a fit. Still, till this day, I'm sure that I can probably get mad. Terrell's like, every time we go somewhere, you have to just get so mad and just ruin the vibe because you can't find what to wear. And it really is like a big thing. It's just so much pressure. But I've learned over the years to just be yourself and just to be comfortable. And that's what Karrueche, that's what I'm getting to. Karrueche and Seiko kind of just taught me that, to just be careless and just like, and I feel like that's like the real LA girl swag. Like when I think of an LA girl, it's two different ones. It's the one from Beverly Hills that has all this plastic surgery or whatever, and then there's another one that's just like super cool and just carefree and just like super swaggy.
Yeah, and there's girls just wearing baggy clothes and looking good. But my whole life, like I was overweight when I was younger, and I always thought like if you wear baggy clothes, no one will see like what you really look like. But then I will look back at my photos when I was in middle school and high school. I'm like, you look bigger because you're wearing big clothes. And so now I kind of feel the same way. Like I feel like I have to wear form-fitting clothes, so people could see what I really look like. Yeah,
me too. That's how my body was too. I was always a bigger girl, always, and I had to. I'm not Karrueche, she's tiny, she can wear whatever she wants and look so cool. So it was hard for me to find clothes that fit me and fit my legs and made my body look good, but I found it and I was like, okay, I feel comfortable and I feel like I can come into the room and feel confident with what I have on and still feel comfortable to just hang out in the studio, because I'd be in the studio full dress,
can't eat anything,
heels.
Your dress is too tight.
Yeah, and I'm like, what am I doing? I'm not this. Yeah. I'm not a groupie, like a studio groupie. I'm here with them every single day. So to just finally find that swag and feel like, okay, I'm comfortable in my own skin and comfortable in my outfit felt so good. And I feel like that's what really helped me with Sorella too. I was like, it was like both sides, like the tomboy side, the swaggy side, and then the girl that can dress up too. Yeah. Because Sorella really started with like our sweatsuits, and we would just have like regular sweatsuits from downtown, but I'd put like a leather cuff at the bottom and like a little elastic here and made it like a crop sweatsuit because I really loved Aaliyah. And I'm like, what would Aaliyah wear? And like the sweatsuit was like the first thing to pop off for me. And I sold so many fucking sweatsuits. We were getting bags from downtown and just like hauling them in my apartment, shipping off these sweatsuits. And it's because I feel like it was just like both of my swags mixed in. We would have the heels with the sweatsuit.
I remember this, yeah.
And like, I think that was like a staple too in like fashion.
I would have never imagined that would work well together. I'm like, I can wear a sweatsuit and also wear heels and make it very girly. And because if I tried to leave the house in a sweatsuit, my mom would be like, where are you going? You look like a bum. But then you wear heels and you have your makeup done. Yeah. It changes everything.
And so I sold so many fucking sweatsuits. I can't even tell you.
Do you guys still sell them?
No. I don't sell them anymore. But when I did, man, it was a great time. But it's just cool to like find that and just to stick with it and just to feel comfortable and not try to do too much.
So your consistency is what you blame everything on, like just staying consistent. And I find that to be like a very good message for everything. But it's like, you probably had a month where Sorella was doing 10x, and then the next month maybe it's only doing 2x. Yeah. And so when you have that high and then you go back down, it's kind of like you can easily just put pressure on yourself, like, oh, I didn't beat last month.
Yeah, and I still do that to this day.
You still do it to this day?
I still do that to this day. And I compare months and I compare years, and I'm just like, thank God I have him, because I'll beat myself up and I would probably quit. But I never did in the beginning, just because I'm like, I have way better good days than I do bad days. So
but it's so
just
hard to
keep
focus
going.
on that.
I know.
You just want like seeing the negative comments, seeing the bad months.
I focus on the negative and I hate it. But I focus on the negative and I focus on reality, whereas T-Rell focuses on always the positive and how we can turn it around. Always.
Doesn't that annoy you sometimes though?
It does.
I'm like, let me be mad. I want to be mad right now.
And I'm thankful because he's always right and everything always turns around. And I'm like, if I would have quit or if I would have stopped, I would like be so mad at myself because stuff always does turn around for the better. So I would just keep going and just like hope for the best. And he was like doing great in life. Like if I was to fail, like it wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
But then there was a point in time where it was like, I can't fail and I have to do this because this is the only thing that we have. And so that really put a different spark inside of me. And I was just like, I want to have kids and I want them to be in a stable home. And I want to be stable. I don't want to go back to Texas. Like I have to be consistent and I have to wake up and I have to do something every single day to try to make a sale. And I just did that every day. And eventually every single day was like great for me. And I was like, that's what the fuck I'm talking about. And then I was like, now let's start a store. Because at the time he had a business, Last Kings, that was huge. And like, I like praised them. Like I looked up to them. They had like huge warehouse and were like shipping clothes to like Tilly's and all these stores. And it was just crazy. And they kind of like put a different spark seeing that too. I'm like, wow, they can actually do it. I could do it too. And where am I going? I don't know.
How many years into having Sorella as an online business did you finally do the brick and mortar opening the store?
So we got our first store in 2013, and it was what is my warehouse now, the Girls Tour Wall on Orange Grove in Melrose. And it was supposed to be, because Last Kings was the store that I have now.
Yeah.
And so it came like as a package deal with their store. It's like basically like their back stock. And he's like, we don't use this. Like, you guys can come in and like sell the stuff that's not selling at like a discount rate, have a sample sale or whatever. I was like, okay. So we did that and we had like a line around the block. And I'm like, oh my God, there's people coming. And so we just kept the sample sale going and kept doing it every day until we finally were like, okay, let's put this rack here. Okay, let's put a couch in here. Okay, let's get a fitting room. Okay, let's do this. Let's do that. And we kind of built what is now our warehouse into a store.
Must have been so fun. Like,
yeah, it was. We bought mannequins. We figured out how to make tags. Well, my sister Chelsea came out here when I got pregnant with Zoe. And that's when we had like the store and it was doing like good. And Chelsea was like, she came out here and she was helping me at the store one day. And she's like, okay, where's like the tag on this? Like, how do you know what this is called? How do you know how much it is? How are you keeping inventory? And we're like, well, we're not. We're just selling
You had
stuff.
no system back then?
No system.
Wow.
We were just doing it off of a calculator and how much we think this is. $9.99. Whatever we're going to sell it for is what we're going to sell it for. And so she's like, no, you have to have a tag on this. And so I'll never forget. She was like, we need a printer or something. We all didn't know how to do it. And then she's like, okay, this is a printer that you guys have.
Had she been working retail or something?
No, never.
She just knew that there was a better way to do it.
She worked at a restaurant. She was a host. She didn't know. And so she's like, this is how we do it. We can put the tag on it. We can put the name and we can put the price. And we're like, oh my God, yeah, duh. And she's like, now we need something to scan it. And we're like, yeah, we need something to scan it. What's that? And so we looked up Square. Because we had like the little swipe thing, and Square had this whole POS system, and we're like, okay, we need this, and it was like $500. Like, okay, let's spend this $500 to get this POS system. We got it, and so we were like thinking we're big shit. We have barcode, we have a sticker, we can scan it. Our sale is tracked, and then it was like, okay, taxes time came, and then I was like, what the fuck? Because I wasn't keeping track of nothing. I didn't have no receipts. I didn't have anything.
Wow.
I didn't have anything, and I had got audited, but I was making so much money at a young age, and I didn't know that I had to keep track of this. Like, it was stuff that I was selling on clearance and stuff, but it came back and bit me in the ass later.
I feel like you could do a really good seminar on the do's and don'ts of starting a small business.
I can. Oh my God.
Now, obviously, if you have been starting other businesses, like, from the very beginning what you're supposed to be doing. I'm
like, Money for Nails ain't going through none of this because I know exactly what to do. Like, Sorella, that's why I call them my babies, just because it's so much trial and error, and you mess up and you don't know what the hell you're doing, and you figure it out and you just continue to grow. and you learn. Like, I didn't have anybody telling me what to do, like telling me how to run a business. Like, my parents didn't own their own business. Like,
and now you have employees, right? Like, how many employees do you have?
Yeah, well, the most employees I ever had was like 13.
Wow. And
then you just start realizing I really don't need all these employees, but I thought I needed all these employees to like be a big business or like, you know, and I wasted so much money in payroll just thinking like, I have to have this person, they have to have a job. Oh, I have to have, and I'm like, you're spending all your money on these people and you're still working. Like, you should not be working crazy, at all.
Not if you have that many people.
Not if you have this many people. So I figured that out fast too. Really, the pandemic opened my eyes with that because I had to do everything on my own. And I didn't have anybody. I didn't have not one employee. It was just me and Terrell.
Wow.
During the pandemic. So, well, me and Terrell and my sister, she never stopped helping me.
Was the pandemic the hardest thing on your business, or was there another point in time that was more difficult going through?
Probably the pandemic.
Yeah.
I've had hard times, but the pandemic really was very, very hard for me because I had lost everybody and I didn't know what the fuck to do. And I had to learn every single job title in my business. Like, I knew the basics.
But you'd become hands off a little because
Yeah.
your business grows, you give other people some responsibility, and then you back off a little bit.
Yeah. So then I'm like, okay, I have to actually relearn all of this and do it on my own. And I did it, and it was challenging, but it was felt so good. Like, when you figured it out and you're like, I can do this by myself. And like, I felt like nobody could tell me nothing because I was doing great during the pandemic too. At the beginning, it was scary and it was like, fuck, I'm not making any money. Like, all this, my stores closed, the riots, all this stuff. But then I realized like, no, this is my time to make the most money that I've ever made in my business right now because everybody was shopping online. Everybody was at home bored. And I figured it out real fast. And at that time, I really didn't have as much product as I usually have. And I was like, I have to get more product for the site.
It was really hard to get product at the time, right?
Yeah.
All the factories
It was hard.
closing.
Everybody was closed. But I knew I needed it to make more money because I would see how many people were on the site and how much sales I was making. I'm like, there's not enough stuff to buy. And so I would call like all of my downtown vendors, anybody that was working. China was already shut down, so it was just over. And people were like sneaking me in through the back, letting me buy packs of clothes, like letting me like, and it was old stuff. I'm like, whatever I have a picture for, I'm going to go back and I'm going to restock because I don't have to shoot. Nobody could shoot. No models would shoot. No makeup artists would come do makeup. No, I couldn't run my online business. So I'm like, I have to restock everything I have a picture for. And these people were like letting me. And it was just like a crazy time. It was a crazy
Well, they need
time.
to make their money too. No one knows where their money's going to come. It was,
So
that
I was
ridiculous.
pulling up to warehouses and like back through secret gates and they were throwing stuff in my trunk. And it was just a crazy time. And I'd get back, I'd get my product tagged, I'd put it in the bag, I'd put the sticker on, I'd put it online, make it lie. It just like
You didn't let Sorella have a hard time, basically. You were just gonna keep going.
Well, I couldn't. I'm like, I can't, And I didn't apply for any like of the loans that were available or anything, like a dummy, until somebody was like, you need to apply for the payroll protection thing so you can at least like pay your employees. And I'm like, they're like, but it has to go only to payroll. And I'm like, okay. So I was able to bring my people back and like able to work. And just what I took from that is like, okay, I know how to schedule you. I know how to tell you what to do. Like, because I had somebody else in charge that a part of my business that's no longer here, and she was doing all that for me. So I was just too comfortable and I just like let her run it. And so at the time I was like, okay, now I know how to do the job. I know how long it takes to do the job. I know what you have to do, and I can schedule you accordingly to how I need you. And so I was just doing that and paying my bills, and I got the PPP, the payroll protection thing. And it was like such a blessing because I was able to keep my business alive because I paid my rent. I did everything right with that loan that most people probably wouldn't have done. And I did everything right, and I got it forgiven.
Yeah.
But it just was like,
that must feel so good though, like, because I feel like I would be in a state of panic if that was me in that moment.
I was.
You know, and then because, you know, my business went crazy at the time just because everyone was at home. Everyone had the stimulus checks. They needed entertainment. So for me, like, I didn't have to do much. It was just going to go crazy anyways. But your situation was totally different. Like, you needed people to be shopping, shooting,
and people
all that.
wanted to buy. And I'm like, okay, I have to get stuff for them to buy. And then eventually just turned around, and those years were like probably like my best years in business because I was in control of everything. Like, nobody was helping me with anything. I knew how much money I spent. I knew how much I was supposed to get back. Like, I didn't have that many employees. I only had a few, and it was just great. I was like, wow, I can do it by myself.
What's like the one takeaway lesson you would give to someone who's at home listening who really wants to start a business? Like, the one thing that you could say?
I say it every time somebody asks me, but consistency and just like knowing what you want and just like really believing that's what you want and going after it.
Just the vision.
Yeah, just the vision, and just to not stop and just to be consistent. Because if I would have stopped, like, I probably would have not have grown to what I am now. And there's times that I've wanted to stop, like,
and
a lot.
And to be such a long running store on Melrose. I mean, I feel like stores are constantly opening and closing there. I've been going there since I was in high school, take the bus down there, look around, and I feel like not that many stores stay.
I know.
You know?
It's a blessing. No, it's a blessing. And every time I walk past that store, I'm like, wow, like, I'm still here. And it's just, because you have fears as a business owner, like, dang, when is this ever going to stop? Like, when is this not going to work anymore? Mm-hmm. And so every day I'm just like, oh, I'm so thankful that like people are still supporting me and that I'm able to like stay open and to be able to do this for 12 years.
That is crazy. So you've done Sorella, your fashion, your clothing and everything. And I know you have your nail line. What other businesses do you have?
Just those two. And then like our family YouTube channel that we do. And we have a trucking company, but I'm not really involved in that. It's just more T-Rell and my best friend's that. And that's pretty much it. And just like any like brand deals that I get.
Your little empire. I watched some of your vlogs. They're very cute.
Oh, thank you.
You have the cutest kids.
You have good vlogs too.
I know, and we never vlog. We're so lazy.
And I didn't know that you were like big on YouTube before.
Yeah, I've been no, not before Adam. Adam's been on YouTube for like ever because he used to put the bike stuff on there when he was just like a bike rider guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but he actually, a lot of people don't know this, but when we met, he was like, oh, I'm gonna make her a YouTuber and I'm gonna manage her and I'm gonna take a percentage of her income. That was his whole thing with me. That's what he didn't think he was gonna date me. He was just like, oh,
I'm gonna manage her.
Yeah, I'm gonna manage her. Yeah, kind of thing. And then that didn't work out because like with hot girls on YouTube, they just demonetize you. So he quickly figured out like, I'm not gonna really make that much money off of her. Yeah. But he was the one who really encouraged me to do YouTube. Okay. But yeah, I just vlog very inconsistently.
Yeah, that's our problem too. And it's like when we first started, we're doing so good. And then just life happens. I think it was really the pandemic and stuff where I had to step away and like focus on my main source of income because YouTube wasn't my main source of income. Yeah. So I was like, I have to focus on this. And I just couldn't vlog through that time. I was like such a mess. Like that time was like the best time and the hard time because my skin was so bad and like I had gained so much weight and I
just from stress or from
stress. Like I had lost like my business partner and like best friend that was like with me from the beginning of Sorella and like I had lost her and just like thinking you're losing your business. And I had just had a baby that I had suffered through postpartum depression. It was just like a lot.
This is right after
Zane.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just like a lot for me.
And then you got pregnant again during the pandemic, right?
Yeah, I did. Which it was not supposed to happen. And T-Rell was like, you can't have a baby right now. I'm like, why? He's like, because you're still like so depressed and like I have to deal with it. I have to deal with you crying every day. I have to deal with you being fat. I have to deal with you, complaining about your skin every day or just whatever because he's like my best friend too. And so he gets it all. And I feel bad a little bit, but.
Did your postpartum change once you got pregnant or was it the same?
Well, I was slowly coming out of it when I had got pregnant with Ziri, but I wasn't fully out of it.
And how long were you depressed, I guess?
So probably like 4 months after Zane until he was 3? Wow. So like 3 years. Yeah.
You didn't see anyone or like take anything for it?
I had got on prescription for it, but I didn't know how serious it was. Mm-hmm. and T-Rell didn't either. And he would just like blow it off. And like, he's like, you don't have like, you're not depressed. Like, you don't have postpartum depression. Like, you're not depressed, whatever. And I'm like, no, this is real. And I would like cry every day. And I just had like the worst thoughts. And I tried to go to a therapist and I just didn't like her. So I just gave up.
Yeah.
But postpartum is just, it's like, it's really real. Yeah. And I didn't know. You hear people say, oh, postpartum, but no, it's really real.
And I think it's hard to really, like, because you think of depressed as one type of person, the person that like doesn't leave their house, doesn't engage with other people. They're just like having such a hard time, like this very extreme case. But then you have postpartum depression where you're a mom to a newborn and you have to just keep going and pushing through. And so when someone's looking at it from the outside in, they're like, oh, she's fine. She's got this, you know, because she's still doing her thing.
Yeah. And that's how it was. I had no choice but to get up every day, work on my business, you know. But I just like left myself on the back burner just because I was so worried about my business and just you know, my kids. And that's who I gave all my time to. And I was just like, basically like just left myself for dead. And I realized too late that like, you can't do that. Like if you're not okay, nothing else is going to be okay.
Yeah.
And so I figured that out and I was like, I have to start changing stuff. Like I have to start thinking different. And so I would just like pray a lot. And I tried to like meditate and wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning before any of my kids were up and try to like focus and like meditate, just doing different things that you've never done before, hoping that you can get yourself out.
Did that help you a lot? The waking up really early specifically, because I always dream that will change my life, but I just can't get myself to wake up that early because
nobody's up and
it's quiet at your house.
It's quiet. You can just think and just have like a minute to yourself. And then I started working out at 6 a.m. During the pandemic, and that just made me feel good too. So I'm just like, I have to do more stuff that makes me feel good. Like going to work, it makes me feel good because, you know, this is how I make money, is how I take care of my kids or whatever. But I'm like, what other stuff makes me feel good? And so like the meditation was cool. It's really hard to meditate.
I know. I'm so intimidated by it.
Yeah. It's intimidating a little bit. But like once you tap in, you're like, okay, like this is how it's supposed to feel. But it's kind of hard to get tapped in like that. But just doing more stuff with like what made me happy. And I was like, okay, like I'm going to do my skincare because my skin had got really bad. I've never had bad skin ever in my life.
I watched a video of you on YouTube from 8 years ago and I am like, this chick does not age. Like, I'm like, she needs to tell us what she is doing because you look the same.
Oh, thank
you. You look the same. I just don't even believe it.
Thank you. Oh my God. You know what? I'm just blessed with good skin and good genes.
The answer no one wants to hear.
I know nobody wants to hear it. And I could probably make a skincare line and sell out right now. But at the end of the day, I think it's just good genes and I drink a lot of water.
Got lucky.
And I really did get lucky. But I'd suffered through bad skin and it was like something brand new that I never experienced, not even as a teenager. And everybody goes through that.
Yeah.
And you know, I get a pimple here and there, but like my skin was like up, like it was so bad, and I did not want to be on the internet. Like I did not want to post Insta stories. I did not want anybody to see me like that. Plus, I had gained weight.
Do you feel pressure to make content every day on your story, by the way? Because I feel like you're so active.
No,
you're okay.
Yeah, I mean, I know I should be doing it, but I'm not ever pressured. Like, oh God, I have to post something on my story. Like, okay, no, I just post whatever I feel like posting. But so I started focusing on my skin. I'm like, okay, this makes me happy. Like, I like doing this. And then this guy was like, stop putting all that stuff on your face. Stop putting all you need is this. And like, that'll get rid of the acne.
He's always trying to tell you what to do, huh?
Yeah, he is. This
is what you need to wear. This is what your skincare is going to look like. Wear these shoes.
He was like, wash your face with this, spray this, and that's it. Let your face dry up. I'm like, okay, let me just try to do what he's doing. And I tried to do it for a week and I had noticed a change in my skin because I was putting all the oils and the serums and everything that I could do because it was fun.
Yeah.
Buying all this new skincare. He's like, all you need is this, which was witch hazel. And I'd wash my face with like a Kiehl's face wash and spray my face with witch hazel, put some chapstick on and go on about my day. And then eventually my skin was like perfect and just cleared up.
Have you made a YouTube video about this, T-Rell? Because you have a little skincare routine that you need to share with the world, apparently.
No, for real, he does. But I had sold so much through the pandemic on my Amazon storefront, all that skincare stuff that I was doing every night.
Oh, wow.
And when I stopped doing it, I'm like, I can't sell this stuff because I'm not doing it. And he was like, shit, you better get on there and just hold the shit and tell him to go buy it or whatever. And I was doing that. I was making so much money. And I'm like, I think I'm going to start my own skincare line. And so I had like ordered all these samples, told my manager, order me all this. I'm starting a skincare line. And I just never did. But hopefully one day it comes in the future. But during all this, I was still trying to work on my nail polish. But China had closed before the US had closed. So it just put like a whole year pause on my nail polish. And so yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this.
No, I love listening. I'm like, because I'm so curious about you. And I'm like, I know of you, but now I get to hear it from your mouth. Because when someone becomes famous on social media, it's not like every newspaper is tracking everything that they've done, and you can kind of find like a timeline of it, you know?
Well, nobody knows anything about me, and that's why everybody thinks I'm so cool.
You are cool.
Because I'm just like mysterious, and I don't really have a lot of friends, only a couple, and I'm just like not always at the club every night or at events, or I'm not everywhere. So everyone's like, who is this Heather girl? Like, you know?
Did you completely just stop going out like the way you were before after you started having kids?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it just because you had them, or you just didn't even care anymore?
I just didn't even care because I was all partied out.
Yeah.
Because I had went out with them every night. So many different clubs. And I just got so tired of getting stepped on and
spilling
sweating
drinks on you.
And spilling drinks and smelling like smoke, and just all these girls trying to trample you down to get into this VIP, and it just became not fun for me. I mean, at first I was like, yeah,
this is so cool.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, we get in the club for free table, free bottle. Like, coming from where I was coming from, like, wow, this is the life. And it was fun I'm not gonna lie and say it wasn't fun. It was fun, so much fun, but it just got annoying.
Yeah.
And then he was like travel and stuff, and when I had my baby, I didn't have anybody to help me watch my baby or do anything. So I really didn't have a choice to go out, really, if I wanted to. So until his mom came over and she started helping me, and then I felt like a little bit of freedom. But now I'm just like, ew, who wants to go to a club? I'd rather go to somebody's house and do this, talk and drink wine, or go to like a mini like lounge party or like
somewhere
private,
a little quieter, somewhere you can actually like have a conversation with people. We went out, I don't know how many months ago that was, but I was like, that was miserable. It was packed like sardines. I couldn't see anything. Everyone's yelling. It's so loud.
Lena's like me. I'm like, she's like me, because we both hated that night.
It was not for me. No, I'm like, let's go to a nice dinner.
Yeah.
So you are like this big time businesswoman, 12 years. That's a big time businesswoman for me.
Thank you.
And you have 3 kids. Like, how do you manage all that? And do you have like a lot of mom guilt, like when you're working and then not home?
Yeah, I do. And it broke me in the beginning. I'm like, how am I supposed to leave my baby? Like, my baby needs me. And my mom was like, it's fine. Like, I had to leave y'all with your grandma. I had to leave you with whoever I could to go take care of y'all. And she was like, you have to take care of your family and yourself, and, you know, your kids will always love you and they won't remember it. And it was because my kids were so small, and you just want to stay home with like when you first have a baby, it's the most magical times.
Yeah.
Like those first like 4 months is just like the best. And I think I took 4 months off with Zoe, and each kid got less and less and less. But I'm like, at least I'm going to give myself 6 weeks, at least 6 weeks. But it's just so fun, and you don't ever want to leave your baby.
I think it's more fun when they're a little older, but I feel like it's different when they're little, because you just want to snuggle them.
Yeah, you just want to snuggle them
can't
all day.
move.
You know, watch what they're gonna do, figure out the schedule. It's just fun. You have all these new mom toys that you want to use, breastfeed. I was pumping, and it was just like keeping me entertained, and I liked it a lot. And so I really never wanted to go out. But when I did, I was like, oh, I feel so bad. I'm leaving my babies. But when I feel like I'm going to work, it made me feel better. But if I'm like, I'm going out and just staying out all night and hanging out with my friends, it made me feel guilty a lot.
Yeah, I think like 6 months after I had Parker, someone invited me to like a day party on a Friday at noon. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, of all the things that I could be doing with my free time, I'd rather go get like a massage. I'm not leaving in the middle of the day to go to a party.
You know what? I can't believe y'all don't have a nanny.
We do.
You do have a nanny.
Oh, yeah. And I have like my entire family lives within 10 miles of here. So if I need help, I have help.
Okay.
But a lot of times it's like I'm home and I go in the back house and I do work on my computer, and then someone's in the house with her.
Yeah.
But if she can find me, she'll find me. And like, it's hard
to work from home.
They'll find you. I feel so bad because my makeup artist or my hair person shows up, she knows I'm leaving, and she starts throwing a fit. Yeah. And she'll just stay in my lap and drink milk while they're doing my makeup, and like be trying to whack the like brush out of my hand. It's like a whole thing. I feel like I maybe coddle her a little too much. Like I need to just like let her just go a little more. But every time she wants me to pick her up, I pick her up.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's because it's your first baby. Yeah. I got over that so fast.
Oh,
I'm
really?
Like, oh, no. I'm not about to be holding you all day. Yes. I'm like, I'm not holding you all day. Go be independent.
Was that after you had Zane that you were able to be like, Zoe, I can't pick you up right now?
Yeah. Oh, because Zoe was the first child. And for all my sisters, my mom, everybody, she was the first baby. So she was super spoiled and she was just rotten. But with Zane, I had a really, really hard pregnancy with Zane. And so I felt like he needed extra love. Mm-hmm. And I gave that to him. And which is why I feel like I was so depressed too, just because I would always wanted to be around him. Because he almost didn't make it. Like when he was born.
Was he in the NICU?
Yeah. And it was like really, really bad labor. And so I'm like, I'm like, my baby wouldn't be here right now. Like he wasn't breathing when he came out. So I'm like, I have to give him extra love.
Wow. So, I could see how you would have a postpartum depression after that.
Yeah. I had a really, really scary labor, a really hard pregnancy. He was 10 pounds when he came out. I had him vaginally. I was supposed to have a C-section. He got stuck. Usually when like the head comes out, like the whole body just comes out.
Yeah.
But he didn't. So his head was out and I was trying to push and push and push and he wouldn't come out. So he started turning like purple.
Oh, wow.
Because his head was just like there. And so the doctor had to like cut me and like stick his hand and like grab him out. And he had this, I forget what it's called. What's it called, T-Rell? Remind me what it's called.
It's a shoulder thing?
Yeah. So T-Rell was like, wait, his arm's not moving. Like his arm isn't moving. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like I didn't notice anything. And right when they had like took him to the bed, like they had to like do, you know, whatever on him to make him cry and stuff. So T-Rell was over there. I was just in like, I couldn't believe what was happening. I was just strung out over there. But he was over there and he was like messing with his arm. And then when everybody left the room, he was like, something's wrong with his arm. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he showed me and I was like, okay, the pediatrician comes tomorrow. They do the well baby exam. Let's see if he says anything. And he was like, oh, it looks like he has a brachial plexus injury. And that's what T-Rell has with his arm.
Oh, wow.
And so T-Rell just was like, I could just tell like his heart dropped in the room. And T-Rell felt like, great, like I gave my baby this. But it's not genetic. Like, no, it's not genetic and you can't transfer. Yeah. Like it's not like that.
It just happened through the labor because it was so hard on his body, right?
Yeah, but I'm like, what are the odds of him having the same injury as his dad and like going through like that pain? I don't know. Like, I don't know. It was just so weird that he said he has a brachial plexus injury. I'm like, what? That's what T-Rell has. So he had to have like a little sling on his arm like the first 3 weeks he was born. And I had to like rewrap the sling every day, like when I would take him a bath and stuff.
And you had to take care of yourself because you had a episiotomy, it sounds like, right? Where they cut you all the way.
So it was so, nobody ever talks about that after they give birth. There was so much bleeding and just felt like so nasty. You had to wear diapers for like a month. And
I was just talking about this with another mom, like nobody really prepares you for postpartum.
Heck no. But Mom Frida got you covered. When I went to have Ziri, Mom Frida had everything for like what could happen during birth. They had everything in this little pack that costs like $1.99 and you can get everything. And
it's like a little postpartum kit with all the bath kit and everything that you would use.
Like the cooling gel.
Yeah. I had a C-section, so I didn't have to experience that, but I saw it with my sister, like wearing the ice packs and everything.
Yeah. Well, I stressed, I do not want to have a C-section. Do not ever give me a C-section to my doctor. And I was so mean to him. Like, I do not want to have a C-section. And I kind of blame myself because I should have had a C-section with Zane. And my doctor was trying to give me what I wanted and trying to like, be natural and vaginally. And I'm like, I shouldn't have like pressed that I didn't want to have a C-section that
you didn't
hard.
Have one with Zuri, right? After?
No.
It's hard because with the C-section, the more you do it, then the harder it gets on your body and the more dangerous it gets. So it's like if you want 4 kids. Yeah. So if you had a C-section with Zayn, like, you know, it just gets more dangerous with every kid.
Yeah. And at the time when I first got pregnant, I was like, well, I think I'm gonna have a C-section, because my friends at the time, all they were having was C-sections, and they're like, oh, it's so much easier, like just do the C-section, like you don't have to be scared about giving birth. So I was like, okay. And I told my mom, I'm like, I think I'm gonna have a C-section with Zoe. And she was like, no, Heather, like please don't have a C-section. And she was like, if you have to, that's fine, but if you don't, like, don't, you know, put yourself up if you don't have to have a C-section. I'm like, okay. I'm like, why? And she's like, just because, like, it's so much pain after, because she had 3 kids or 2 kids, and then her third one was a C-section, and then the last one was vaginally. She's like, I've done both, and the C-section recovery is just not it. Yeah. And I'm like, okay. And so
I hated having a C-section, but I know that some people, like, they plan it and it goes well. Yeah. But I was expecting to do the home birth, so in my brain, like, I got the complete opposite of what I was.
Oh my God, you were gonna do the home birth?
Oh yeah, but I was like almost 43 weeks pregnant. So
you know our Taylor.
Yeah. She was the one who recommended my midwife to me. She had the same thing. She was like pregnant down to the line, like where she was gonna have to go to the hospital.
Yeah, she told me that I'm like, more power to y'all, because that I don't think I could ever do. And
I bet you could.
Oh my God, I don't think so. I'm like, please give me the epidural. I'm
okay,
like, please.
But when I had the epidural, from the moment they gave it to me, I felt good for 5 minutes, and then I was so itchy, like a drug addict, scratching till I was bleeding. Yeah. So I don't know what I would do if I had to have one again, because I almost would rather have been in pain.
I know. You know what? And I had I think that it all was like a different combination of things with why I couldn't get Zayn out. First of all, because he was big as hell. And then because my epidural, I was like, shoot me up. Like, I don't want to feel nothing. I'm like, give me all the medicine. And I felt like I was so numb down there that I couldn't feel that I was pushing him, because you can feel you can pressure. Feel it down there. Yeah, the pressure. And I couldn't feel anything. So I'm like, I'm pushing, like, I think. And then my sister's like, Heather, you need to push. She was like, you need to push. And I'm like, okay, it's serious.
It could slow labor down basically sometimes, because you're not in tune with what's happening with your body.
Yeah. And I think that was just a combination of why I couldn't get him out. And so with Ziri, I was like, okay, I need my epidural, whatever. I'm ready for it. And so they gave me my epidural, and I didn't find out until later that they had put my epidural in the wrong spot, which is why I wasn't feeling all the medicine that I should. I'm like, I've had 2 kids. I've had 2 epidurals. I know I'm not supposed to be feeling this. And so the guy was like so nasty. He was like, well, you know you're having a baby, right? I'm like, yeah, I know I'm having a baby. I've had 2 babies and I've never felt this much pain.
He was giving you attitude when you're in labor?
And he did not want to come down. He's like, ugh, like, you're calling me again. And it was just like so rude. Like, ugh, like, I'm down here again. Like, what's going on, Heather? I'm like, I can feel stuff and I don't want to be in pain. Like, I'm crying. I don't want to be in pain. And I didn't find out until I was transferred, till after I got birth, transferred to the other room. The lady was rolling me over. She's like, oh yeah, so she did this. She had her baby here. This is this. She's like, and then she had a misplaced epidural, and she had pain caused to misplaced epidural. I'm like, misplaced epidural?
So you're like, validated. I'm right. You're
like, I'm like, oh, so he misplaced my epidural. Why he wants to come in here and be a smart ass and like talk to me like I'm stupid. Yeah. He put it in the wrong spot. So it's supposed to go straight up your spine, up and down. And I don't know. I don't know how he put it in the wrong spot, but I felt every single thing with Ziri. Every single bone coming out. I'm like, I could feel everything.
This is shocking to me, because I just talked to a girl who had like literally almost the exact same story on my podcast, where she was like, I could feel them cutting me. Like, she could feel everything.
I could feel everything.
That's their job. Their job is to put the epidural in correctly.
I'm like, what y'all got going on up here? I'm like, oh, this is not okay. It was just scary, because I was supposed to go to the Kaiser right down the street from my house. It was 5 minutes away, but I got there. They had turned me away. They're like, no, we don't have enough rooms. We're going into this. I forgot what it's called. You have to go to Panorama City. I'm like, what is Panorama City? That is ghetto. I've never heard of it. I'm not going to ghetto hospital and having my baby. And they're like, well, ma'am, if you want to get into a room, you need to go there before they're filled up too.
Is this because it was the pandemic and there was just no places?
Oh, yeah, and no nurses. Oh, so it was like they called it something, but it wasn't enough nurses to fulfill how many patients that they had. So they were closing rooms, and it was just a mess. But so I went to this place, and I had the best nurse through like my night nurse, and then in the morning I had this bitch ass nurse, and she was so rude to me. and her and T-Rell were like fighting. And T-Rell's like, where's the charge nurse? Where's the charge nurse at? And he was like, get this bitch out of my room. Like, we don't need your bad vibes. Like, we're about to have a baby. She don't need your bad vibes. Cause I was like dying. I'm like, I need ice. And she's like, nope, you can't. She's messing with my, you can't have no ice. You had an epidural. You can't have this. I'm like, girl, I already asked the doctor and he said I could have ice. I've been having ice. I've had this epidural for this many hours and I've been having ice. I'm like, I'm not going to be able to push.
You couldn't eat ice?
No, I couldn't eat ice. She's like, well, ice turns into water. I'm like, bitch, you want me to die? Because that's how I felt. I'm like, I'm going to die. Like, I can't breathe.
You need to be hydrated.
Yeah. So T-Rell was like, get your ass up out of here. Like, you got to go.
Oh, my God.
And was like, where's the charge nurse? And
were you guys vlogging this? Because I would have loved to see.
No, and I wish we were, but we were so scared with Zane. We kind of lagged on the vlogging with Ziri because Zane just went completely left.
Yeah.
And we were like, what if we had all this footage and then we didn't have a baby to come out of it?
Oh my God.
So we were he was really so scared. Like, I don't want to have a dead baby again. Because basically that's what I had with Zane. Like, he came out not living. So he was so terrified by that. And we just lagged on the vlogging process. But I wish I would have vlogged more. But yeah, so he's fighting with security at the front, fighting with the nurse. I have nobody in my room. I'm like, my baby's coming out. I'm like, my baby is out. Like,
you were alone when she was crowning?
I was alone in the room. Yes, I was alone. And I'm like, I'm like, help me. And so somebody comes running in the room and she's like, okay, let me see. And I'm like, I had a ball in between my legs, like to help me open up. And she moved the ball and she's like, oh my God. She was like, oh God. She's like, this is my first day. I'm like, oh hell no.
Oh my God.
She calls the person or whatever. And she's like, get in here. The head is out. The head is out. And I'm like, oh no.
They only call the doctor to catch the baby. I mean, that's all they do,
The
right?
doctor, I'm like, girl, I didn't even see you because she was this short little Asian lady. I'm like, but within seconds, I had all the nurses on the floor in my room with me, which was a blessing. I had everybody holding my hands and just like everybody there for me. And then the doctor, she caught the baby. And I'm like, girl, where did you come from? I didn't even see you because I had so many people around me.
So how fast did that labor progress?
Oh, I only pushed for 4 minutes. I only pushed for 4 minutes with Ziri.
Wow.
4 minutes. But they say with your third baby,
your body like knows what it's doing.
Yeah. So It was really fast. But I felt every single thing.
But so that's good that you had like, you had a bad experience with your labor, but then you got a seems like a kind of good one.
Yeah.
So,
and then Zoe was an angel. She was perfect.
You didn't have a hard labor with her?
No, heck no. She came right out. Everything was fine. Everything was perfect. She was my angel baby.
How did you get induced for her or you just went into labor?
I got induced with all my kids.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. I didn't even know. Excuse me. I didn't even know what induction was, but I was trying to have my baby on like a schedule because my mom worked and I wanted her to be out here for the birth. So I was like, my mom's coming from Texas, so I kind of need to know when I'm going into labor. He's like, oh, you can get induced and you can like plan your date, but you have to be 38 weeks. And I'm like, okay. So I planned my date with Zoe, and my mom and my granny were able to be out there. And then I just did it with Zane, and I just did it with Ziri. And I just feel like with my life, I need to know
you're on a schedule.
Yeah, I'm on a schedule, and I need to know when I'm having my baby.
You like to be in control.
Yeah. I'm like, I could not imagine like, oh, my water broke. Let's rush to the hospital. Like
every day I would wait. I'd be like, where the hell's my labor? Where is my labor? Like
I could not imagine.
She was 19 days overdue.
Oh God, see, no. And then I'm like, I need to get this baby out of me.
I don't want to
be pregnant anymore. Yeah. I'm like, take this baby out, please.
Did you have postpartum with Ziri?
No. With Ziri, I was actually so happy after and like so perfect, and it's just crazy.
It's so crazy how every pregnancy and postpartum can be so different, because I am hoping that with my next pregnancy it's amazing, because my last pregnancy was amazing, but you never know. You might just be puking the whole time.
Yeah. Well, I puked with all 3 of my kids.
But only the first trimester, right?
No. The whole entire 9 months. Yes, the whole entire time.
You just totally left this out. That's a big deal.
No, I threw up every single morning. Sometimes twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day. If I would eat something that my stomach didn't agree with, I was throwing up. And I hated it, but it's just something that I got used to. So with Ziri, I'm like, I threw up. Like I woke up one morning and I threw up, and I'm like, I know I'm pregnant. It's your third baby. You know your body. I'm like, I know I'm pregnant. Terrell's like, no, you're not. I'm like, yes, I am. He was like, well, I'm going to go get a pregnancy test. I'm like, go get it. But I know I'm pregnant. So he went and got it. And I took the pregnancy test. I was like, what did I tell you? I know I'm pregnant. I don't throw up. And he was like, oh, no, hell no. We ain't doing this. But I'm so happy that I heard she's my best babe. I love her so much. She's so special to me.
She's so beautiful. She's such a cutie.
She is. Thank you. But my mom was like, I called her because I was really thinking like, okay, maybe I shouldn't have a baby. Maybe I should just, you know, get an abortion and move on. And my mom
just because
like,
you weren't ready at that time.
Yeah, because I was just like finally getting over postpartum. I was like losing a little bit of weight. I was like feeling better about myself. Me and T-Rell were like in a better space. And then he's like, you're just going to put yourself through everything that you just basically almost got over. And I'm like, yeah. But I had called my mom because I was second guessing myself. And I'm like, I'm pregnant. Like, should I have this baby or what? Because I really don't want to go through what I went through with Zane. Mm-hmm. And she was like, what? She was like, no, is this even a question? She's like, Heather, you can never have an abortion. Like, just don't get pregnant. She was like, but you're pregnant. She's like, you're not 16. She's like, have this baby.
You already have a family.
Yeah. She's like, you already have a family. She's like, every pregnancy is different. You never know. She could come out perfectly fine and everything could be perfect. She's like, have her.
Has your mom always been like your guiding light? Like you guys seem really close.
Yeah, we're pretty close. She helps me a lot. We're a lot alike. Yeah.
You can just call her and she'll like help. Yeah. By the end of the call, you know, yes or no.
Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, my mom told me to have the baby. Everything's going to be different. And then she just was like, I had a really good pregnancy. I worked until my 9th month. Like I worked until a week until I had her. I started a new business. Like I didn't gain that much weight, like probably normal weight, like 60, 70 pounds is what I've gained like with all my kids. And I just was happy. I was happy after, I was happy during, and I'm just like, I'm so happy that I had another baby. Because if I would have listened to him, I would have been, what would I be doing? Nothing. Like, might as well have another baby.
So what's your plan to convince him or to get yourself pregnant again in the future when you want another one? Expose yourself right here while he's watching.
I can get myself pregnant. That's not hard. I mean, it's not hard. But I don't know. I'm like, I want to have another baby, but I like where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
And I feel like the Heather before I had kids. So I don't know if I want to let that go yet.
It is so hard.
You know?
I feel like it took me so long to feel kind of normal to get like, I was like, I don't even have like a sex drive and I'm supposed to be a sex worker. I'm like, this is fucking weird.
I know.
And you feel so odd in your body and your body's doing all sorts of weird shit.
It's crazy.
I tried to go like start shooting like early and I was like, your stomach looked weird. Your stomach wasn't all the way back yet. Like, what were you doing? It's like, you want to rush.
So you tried to get back into it early.
Yeah, I shot for a lot of my pregnancy. I stopped like the last few months just because I was like, I'm heavy. I don't feel good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I felt like I was doing OnlyFans before the pandemic, but there was this big wave with a bunch of new girls during the pandemic. And I sort of felt like, oh, I got to compete with all these new girls. I got to get back on it. Like I got to be Lena the Plug.
Yeah. Because T-Rell was telling me, she was like, yeah, she's like #1 OnlyFans girl. She run OnlyFans. I'm like, oh, she does. I'm like, I'm not in that world.
I was on it early, and I was like, people had written articles about how successful I was at it. I don't think I was ever like #1. I think I was top 10 at one point in time, but with the pandemic and people not being able to work, so many girls rushed in, and like there's like a new wave of girls now who like, I was just talking to a girl who's like, she was planning her OnlyFans debut when she was turning 18. Like there's just like, dang. It's so weird to me. It's crazy. But yeah, so there's like so many new people on it. And then when I was pregnant, it was like maybe 3 months postpartum actually, I lost my Instagram. So then I felt like, I was like, okay, like where's my social status or like my thing that I promote myself on? And then I was like, I felt like that moment in Mean Girls where they're trying to fuck with Regina. And I was like, they took the hot body. Yeah. They took all my social stuff. Like, you know what I mean? And so I was just trying to fight that and like rush back in. But now I kind of know for the next baby, like everything will fall back into place eventually. You don't need to rush. Like you've been like on this fitness journey, but in the beginning, it's like you can't be worrying about your workout and your diet so much because your baby needs you literally every second of the day.
I know how that feels. And just to but it just it made me feel good. I'm like, with Zane, I'm like, I don't want to work out. Like I've always worked out because I've always been a bigger girl, and I've changed my body. I've lost 65 pounds on my own without anything. And no pills, nothing.
No
and I'm
trainer, nothing?
No trainer.
Wow.
What? I couldn't afford a trainer. I was just at the gym with him, working out every single day. But after Zane, I'm like, I don't have any interest to work out. I don't want to, until probably that second or third year. Wow. And then, but after Zero, I was just like, okay, I know I have to do this. I was right back on it. I was like, let me start to try to walk on the treadmill and try to love it again. Cause there was a point in my life where I did love it, and just try to focus on yourself and just realize what makes you feel good throughout your day.
Did you feel like you had to hit a real rock bottom type point with yourself to actually want to get motivated to work out and stuff?
Well, it was when I was pregnant with Ziri, because I was already trying to train my mind. You have to work out every day. You have to try to eat right. And I was on that path, and then I got pregnant. So I was still trying to do that when I was pregnant. Okay, I'm going to try to work out every day. I'm going to try to move my body some way.
Yeah.
Wake up, go to work, try to eat okay. When you're pregnant, it's uncontrollable sometimes. But I knew what I wanted, and I knew that I wanted my body back after her, because I was about to get it back when I got pregnant with her. I'm like, I have to prove him wrong. I'm not going to be depressed again. I'm not going to have postpartum. And then just live by, you're in your own head all day. I'm in my head all day, every day.
I know. I actually saw you recently posting some memes that basically display that message, and I just would never get that from you. But it's someone's social profile is not everything about them. You come off as you are confident, but it's just confident that nobody can mess with. And it's when I saw you crying on your story, I started crying when you were just why didn't I love or appreciate the body or the person that I was back then or 10 years ago? It's we're so hard on ourselves. And Adam always reminds me, he's you're just gonna get older, you're just gonna change even more.
That's
Think
true.
You look cute now, because we are cute.
Yeah, I know. And I never felt when I was a teenager, and maybe when I felt T-Rell, I felt the most confident. I love myself. I'm so cute. I can wear anything, and I'm so cute. And then I just think the more eyes that are on you too, you just start, and just everybody now has their bodies done, and everybody's so perfect. Well, it looks on the internet, and so it's just so much more pressure, and you just beat yourself up so much more. And I'm wow, I was so confident when I first met him. And then I it's supposed to go up because I'm making money, and I'm I have all these people that know me, and I'm around all these people, but instead my confidence was just going down
because there's the chatter from all the different comments and the voices and comparing yourself to everybody else that really changes it. Because you don't just walk into a room and you're just Heather. You're now you're Heather Sanders, so you have to always be Heather Sanders everywhere you go.
Yeah. And so I was around all these girls. All my friends had their bodies done, and it was just a regular thing for them, and I couldn't afford to get my body done. And I was still confident in myself, but I just knew that I wasn't not just the best, And I'm well, now I'm why did you not think that you were the best? You were so skinny, you had a cute little body, you were just you were it, Heather.
And does everyone have to look the same?
I know, and does everybody have to look the same? And then I got caught in that, oh, I have to look like her, I have to have a small waist like her, I have to have a big butt or tiny arms, and I think it was just so much, and I was just so hard on myself that I'm I just want to love myself and feel good about myself. Yeah. So I would pray, to God, please, let me love myself. Why don't I love myself? All these people love me, and I just don't love myself. And now I finally feel okay, I'm kind of getting back to the Heather that T-Rell met. He's been through so many versions of me. I feel so bad for the guy. He he probably hates me.
No, he definitely does not hate you.
He's helped me through every version of myself. And it's just so important to just speak kind to yourself, because I beat myself up so much.
Do you feel having kids helps you be nicer to yourself in a way? Even though your body has changed?
Yeah, because of them. They love you so much.
Yeah, and you have to I don't know. It's like there's something about being a mom that I feel like gives you this confidence where your job is so much more important than how you feel about how you look, kind of, that you have to let it go at some point because you have a bigger thing you're working on, you know?
For sure. And that's why I let myself go too, because I just cared about them.
Yeah.
Making sure that they're good, you know, just wanted to take care of them, and I didn't care about myself. Like, and that's where I messed up too, though, because I'm the queen bee. Like, I have to be the best that I can be to give everybody the best Heather, like him, you know, give him the best girl, or my kids the best mom, or whatever.
Were you like hiding that time on social media, or were you? Yeah, you were.
I did not want to post myself. I didn't post myself for a long time, and I posted a picture on my Instagram and says making up for lost time, because I used to post myself every single day. Like, I didn't care if I had my hair done, makeup, fucked up wing eyeliner. I didn't care. I was posting myself because I loved myself and I was confident. And then, I don't know if you knew this, I had Bell's palsy after Zayn too.
I just saw your video on that. Yeah, it's crazy.
So my whole face was paralyzed and I couldn't move. I couldn't drink out of a water bottle. I had to tape my eyes shut to sleep. Like, I couldn't eat right. I chewed to the side. And I'm like, wow, like, my life is over. And it kind of just was like, it was eye-opening, but it was so depressing at the same time, because I'm like, is this everything in life? Like, is this everything? Like, is this you? And I'm just like, oh, I'm over. Like, I can never post on Instagram again. I can never hang around.
How many months did that last?
It lasted like 4, almost 5 months.
Wow. So you're really thinking like this could be forever.
Yeah. So like the first year of me trying to get your body back, trying to be like you again after a baby, I was suffering through my whole face, like being paralyzed. And like what I did show like was my face, and I can like talk on Insta story and do little stuff, you know, because my face card never declined. But
so you were still like showing yourself even though you
when that happened, I just went completely ghost.
Okay.
And I didn't hang out with any of my friends. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want anybody to know that I was even going through that, because I'm like, I'm gonna get over it fast, you know. And then my friends would call me and like, hey, like, do you want to come over? And I'm just like, no, I don't, because my face looks like this. And
did they know what caused it?
Well, yeah, I had to tell them. Well,
no, like did the doctors know how you got the Bell's palsy?
Yeah, so they said it's common after pregnancy and it's caused by stress.
Oh, okay.
So I thought I had a stroke, and because I'm like, why would my face be messed up? I had a stroke, but it was the grand opening of Sorella in the new store, the store that we're in now, because we were down the street at a little store down the street. So it was a grand opening for this store, and I had to be there. I was there like all week, getting the store ready, setting it up. And I'm like, I answered the door. My makeup artist was like, what the fuck is wrong with your face? And I'm like, what do you mean? I hadn't brushed my teeth, washed my face, nothing. I had just got up and let him in the door. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, look at your face, Heather. You haven't looked in the mirror? I'm like, no.
That's so scary.
And I'm like, oh my God. Like, at first it wasn't that bad, but I could tell that it was like drooping a little bit, and my eye was lazy and my mouth was kind of twisted. I'm like, it's fine. Like, I don't know what's wrong, but I'll figure it out. Do my makeup because I have to be here at 11. So he did my makeup. And then throughout the day, it just got so much worse. And I was trying to talk to like all these people that came out to support my grand opening, and I couldn't talk.
What a day for that to happen.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
And I couldn't
talk. How were you not crying? I would have been freaking out.
Well, because I didn't really know what was happening yet.
Yeah.
And then people were like trying to take pictures with me, and I couldn't smile. So I'm like, well, why can't I smile? Like, what is happening? So I just would like do this. And then I was like, I don't want to take any more pictures. I don't want to do anything because something's wrong and I don't look cute. So I had went and like hid myself in the office. I'm like, I think I have to go to the emergency room because I think I had a stroke. And so we went to the emergency room after the whole day. We went at like 6 p.m. and they were like, oh, you didn't have a stroke. You have Bell's palsy. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? And I had to Google what Bell's palsy was. And they gave me like a steroid shot or something, and then some steroid pills, and they sent me about my way. And so I was like, all I had was Google. So me and T-Rell were like Googling Bell's palsy, how to get over it, how long it takes. And everybody was just like, you have to like meditate, you have to work out, you have to eat healthy, you just have to wait for it to go away.
The answer that everyone says for everything.
For everything.
You're like, this is not very specific.
No. So they're like, there's no time on how long it will last. Sometimes it lasts forever. And I'm like, this shit lasts forever. I'm like, I'm done. Like I can't do anything. I thought my life was over. And then I just was like soaking in my sorrow, and I just was like in the house, and that's where I feel like I gained my most weight too. And I gained weight. I stopped filming for YouTube. I stopped like hanging out with my friends. I stopped going up to work. I was just trying to work from home. And then Terrell's like, you can't be like this forever. Like, I'm not accepting it. But I was. Yeah. I was like, I'll accept it. I'll be home with my kids every day. I don't care.
Doesn't it suck? It's like how much we are supposed to value our appearance, how important it is to us and to other people. It's like our entire currency. And it's like, I feel like that was like life's sort of lesson to you, is like, what if this was just taken from you forever? Like, what are you going to do about it? It's like a test, you know?
For sure.
It's like people who play basketball their whole life and then they have an injury and they can't play again. And then they have to sort of like figure out like, what's next for me kind of thing.
Yep. That's exactly how it was. And I was like, I'm just not on Instagram anymore. Like, I'm just going to stay at home and take care of my kids. And this is just my life. Like, I'm just done. Like,
the day it went away, how did you react?
It took a long time for it to go away. But he had like Googled some celebrity that had like went through it. I don't remember her name. And he was like, this lady said she did acupuncture and I think you should try acupuncture. I'm like, okay. So he found me an acupuncture lady. Her name is Maureen Koken. I'll never forget her name. She's
good fiance alert, by the way.
Yeah, he's great. He's just the best. Maureen Koken in Calabasas. And she was like, oh, Bell's palsy, no problem. I see this every day. I'll get your face back in 2 weeks. I'm like, okay. So she was like, it's $100 a session and you need to come like 5 times a week. I'm like, oh God. I'm like, I can't afford that. Like, that's a lot to try to bring my face back or whatever. And I was like, I'm not coming that much, but okay, let's do it. So the first time I came, she just put the needles in my face and just like had me sit there, regular acupuncture. I'm like, this isn't moving fast enough. I had went to like a couple of sessions of that and I felt like I was wasting my money. I'm like, no, this isn't working. Like, I don't think I want to come back. And she's like, no, I'm about to hook you up to this electric thing and we're about to get these nerves like moving and your face is going to come back. I'm like, okay. She's like, it's going to be a little bit more uncomfortable. So she stuck all the needles in my face and then she hooked me up to some like electrical thing. And so like it would throb like every second. Like all these needles in my face would like lift and then they'd go down and then they lift and then they go down.
Or just like a little uncomfortable?
Just a little uncomfortable. And so I was like, okay, this is working, because after the session, I was like, I can smile a little better and like my eyes open a little more. She's like, okay, like this is good. So I'm like, okay, like now, like I'm coming 5 days a week because now
I felt like you saw some proof.
Yeah, I saw some like change. And so I went hard for like 2 weeks. I was trying to go every single day and my face was coming back. And then she was like, okay, like she was like playing with it a little bit. Let's do the electrical, let's do the non-electrical, and like let's just see. And then eventually like my face was just like normal and I can smile and I can drink and I can eat. And it just made me feel so good and just like was just like a relief, like, oh, like I'm back to myself. And I was happy because I started to like I recorded my process my last session. And I'm like, if I was recording this from the day that I got it until the day that I was finished, I probably would have went viral or got so many views on YouTube or helped somebody.
Yeah,
or
that's
done
what I was
something.
thinking, like coming forward with that story, like,
and I never did. And I felt so stupid that I went through such a hard time in my life and I didn't share it with anybody.
But it's so hard to feel motivated because at that point you don't even see the light. You're like, oh, I'm probably going to be like this forever. So you don't really know. It's really hard in those moments to think like, I should document this.
I know. And so I wanted to document like my postpartum stuff and all that. And I'm just like, I just can't do it. But now since I'm over it, I feel like I can talk about it on my Insta story and I can like help people. And I'm like, at least I can try to do it now and hopefully help somebody, because at the time when I was going through it, I just couldn't imagine doing it.
Everyone's life has ups and downs no matter what we want. So next time in your life, when you have a dark time,
vlog it.
Take the camera out, document it, because you're going to come out the other side stronger than ever, like you always do, according to all your stories. You know, it seems like you've had so many different hardships. Even like I feel like seeing what you had to do through the pandemic with Sorella, like I would have been interested in that YouTube video. Like, you know, all your employees are gone and you're in. You take on all the roles, you know?
It was just so much going on. I couldn't imagine vlogging it. But now I need to vlog this incident that just happened now with the store flooding.
You do have another bad thing.
I do have another bad thing that I probably should vlog.
Yeah, tell everyone what happened, because it happened like just 5 days ago, right?
No, Monday. So a fire hydrant, like we were just in the store, regular Monday working. It was going great. And then all of a sudden, I just hear this loud noise because I'm next door in my office. I hear this loud noise and I'm like, what the hell was that? And then I just hear water and I'm like, oh, maybe it's the guy washing the store. I'm like, no, that's too loud. So I literally like ran over there and I'm like, what happened? And they're like, oh, some guy hit the fire hydrant. And like he just kept going. It was a hit and run. So I was just like a little bit confused and I was just looking at all the water and I was just like, what the hell? And then my sister, Chelsea, was calling 911. She's like, I'm on the phone with 911 now. I'm going to call them so they can turn it off. I'm like, okay, everything's under control. I walk out, look outside, look at it, tell T-Rell to come over. And then it just got bad fast. And like all the water started coming from vents and cameras and any crack in the roof or anything. Like it was just so much water. And then until like the whole store was eventually just like filled with water.
How long did it take them to turn the water off?
Like 15, almost 20 minutes to turn the water off.
Wow.
And how strong it was coming out, it just was like, it was just a nightmare. And so we're trying to like take racks of clothes, trying to put clothes on our back, trying to get everything out. Like everybody was like helping me. Like the girls from my office, the guy from my warehouse, the girls in the store, everybody just like in there panicking. It was literally like a movie, like just trying to save anything that we could. And then until eventually it was just like, we can't save it. Like it's just coming from everywhere. The water was up to our knees in our back room where we had to get out of because we couldn't go through the front door because it was so much water. So we were just like, we just have to, I just walked out. I just walked out and I just started crying. I don't know. I'm just like, everything is just gone.
You never know like what's going to happen. Just so it's out of your control completely. There's no way you could have turned the water off. No. You have to just wait.
You have to
call the right person and they come out.
So when we were in there, Chewy, the guy that ships my orders, he was like, no, Heather, you have to get out. This roof is about to come down. You have to get out. Get out, get out, get out. And then like as we're in there, the roof just like crumbles down and comes down. And I was like, okay, fuck, I really do have to get out. So we ran out. And then right after that happened, probably like a couple minutes after that, the firefighters got there, turned the water off, went onto the roofs. They were like, it was like 10 to 12 inches of water on the roof.
No.
It was just too strong and
so heavy.
Yeah, so heavy. They got all the water out as much as they could and then they left. But they found the guy that did the hit and run and they got all his info. But I think he was like drunk on the job or something because he ran up all on the sidewalk. Like there's no way. But for him to just like keep going, like to just hit something and keep going, like he probably didn't know that he would affect my business or like affect me in the way that he did.
He probably doesn't know what he really did.
No, he doesn't. But I'm like, he just ruined my whole entire world. Is just like.
And now you're closed for like a month, you said probably.
No, I'm
right?
probably closed for like 4 to 6 weeks, which I'm not taking that for an answer. We're gonna try to like turn our office into a pop-up store real quick. Try to sell stuff at like
Look at you.
Like we're trying to do something. I'm like, I can't just sit here and wait for the insurance or like we have to make at least $1. Like we got to do something. And then like my employees, I didn't want to have them out of a job. Like. It's hard being a business owner because everybody like relies on you and like these are people's like lives. So it's just been a mess.
I'm very motivated by you and excited by you because it's like with every story you tell, it's like you're just coming back faster because you've learned.
I'm hoping. And I got so much. And you know what? I wasn't going to put this on the internet either. I probably wouldn't have. A couple years ago, Heather would have not put that on the internet. But I'm kind of happy that I did.
You weren't going to share that what happened?
No, like I don't.
You're too proud?
I don't. Yeah. I don't share stuff like bad stuff. Everything on the internet.
But it's out of your control. It's not like you like failed at something. It's like something completely external.
Yeah, it is. But I just like, I didn't even want to post the riots. If it wasn't for like the news and stuff, I probably wouldn't haven't even posted that. Just because I just post happy stuff. You know, I just don't post stuff like that. But I'm like, I'm just going to post this. And I got so much good feedback and like so many people saying like, you're going to come back 10 times stronger. Like it's for a reason. And like, I read all my comments and, you know, and they did help me feel better. I'm like, yeah, maybe it is a sign. Yeah, maybe I am going to come back 10 times harder. Maybe it is, you know, a sign from God. And I'm just like been trying to figure it out all week. Like, why did this happen, God? Like, what are you trying to tell me? What are you trying to teach me? Like, please let me know like what this is for or why this is happening.
It's that nothing could take Sorella down. I mean, it's been going for a long time.
I know. I'm like, please don't let this take me down. I mean, I know I would never let it take me down. I'm going to come back, but everybody's like, close your store, get off of that block. Like you're like curse there, and I'm just like, y'all don't know me. You don't know like my history here, or like what it took for us to like get here.
Yeah.
And like it was his building before. I just have so many memories there. I just don't think that I could leave. And I'm like, where would I go? Like, where would you go start a store?
I know, because I mean, I hear that Melrose can be rough sometimes.
It's rough right now.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still Melrose.
I know, that's why it's gonna come back. Like we've been on that street for 10 years. I'm like, it's gonna come. It's never felt like how it's felt now. Like the vibe of the street is just weird right now with everything going on. And like summer is like our most poppin' time. Like we have such good summers, and like this summer has just been like with everything going on in the world and just the crime on Melrose, it's been like weird. So I'm like, I don't know, I'm just like, maybe it happened at a good time, or like I don't know, I'm like just trying to figure it out. But yeah, hopefully we will bounce back from this. Yeah.
Well, I was informed by Adam that Tyga donated to your GoFundMe. Do you want to talk about this?
I know. You know, I've been trying to figure that out all week too, or the last couple of days, and I'm just like, is it him? Is it not him? But we just got confirmed.
He sent me the screenshot. I've been like, he just shares all the drama with me, because me and him donated to it, so we kept looking back at like, who else is gonna help out, you know? And then when he showed me that, I was like, whoa, plot twist.
I know, and I appreciate y'all so much for like helping out. Like that means so much to me coming from y'all, because y'all do not have to do that at all. And it just like, I mean, I wouldn't even want to start a GoFundMe at all. Like, I didn't start one through the riots or anything. But I'm just like, okay, somebody made it for me, whatever. Like, okay, like we can try to post. I didn't want to post it at all. But just to see people like giving whatever they can.
Yeah, just like you posted it, and it's like, it's clearly so tragic. It's like, you could have never seen that coming, you know? And I think that people want to help in those sort of situations.
Yeah. Well, from him, even though like I haven't talked to him in years or whatever, he still like has a special place in my heart, because he helped us so much. Like, even though like whatever happened between him and Terrell, they don't talk anymore or whatever, he just like, when we were like together, he helped us so much. Like, he let us live in his house for free. Like, he always made sure we were good. Like, when we lost our house, he made sure he paid for our hotel. Me and Terrell were staying in a hotel for like 3 months. Like, he just always made us feel like we were always going to be good. And then like, I'll never forget when like me and Terrell shared a bank account, and something with taxes or whatever happened to Terrell, and our whole bank account got wiped out. And I was just like, what are we gonna do? We have no money. Like, oh my God. None. Like $0. I logged onto the account and it says 0,000. And I'm like, whoa. I'm like, now what? Like, I don't have another bank account. I don't have cash dash. Like, what are we gonna do? So he called him, and he's like, well, what got took out, and whatever got took out, he put back in. And so he's just always looked out for us like that. And like, I know him and Terrell still love each other, and like they have a lot of history. And
do you think this will start their relationship again?
I hope. I think it was like a gesture that was like, you know, like an apology, or just like,
we're good.
Yeah, like we're
care
good
about you kind of thing.
Yeah, like I still care about y'all. Like, I hope you guys still succeed in like whatever you're doing, because he knows how hard we worked for it. So I thought it was really, really nice. I cried.
It's very sweet. Adam was like, we don't know if it's real. We think it might be fake. I'm like, who donates fake $10,000? Like, that's a lot of fucking money.
That's what I said. I'm like, that's a lot of money for somebody to be playing.
For a prank.
Yeah, for a prank. And it's just like, people that I know, like, you know, that are supposed to be doing stuff, even during the riots and stuff, like, they never helped me. So for him to help us, and he hasn't even talked to us in years, it says like a lot to me. And I hope that they can be like, you know, friends again. And
it's very sweet of him.
It's very sweet of him. Thank you, T-Rell. I appreciate you. I still love you. I'm just
I still like you.
Follow suit.
Speaking of your fiance, who is now flipping you off, why is he still your fiance? Because I'm still engaged only. So I'm just curious why you're still engaged only.
Oh my God. Well, you know what? I'm not going to say it's all his fault. Because I'm not pressed to get married either. And I just really haven't thought about it, really. I mean, he asked me to marry him with a fake ring, like when I first moved here. And when you were like 19? Yeah, when I was 19. So
So you've been engaged for like what, 12 years?
Yeah, I've been engaged for 12 years. Yeah.
I guess it's hard to take marriage seriously when you already have a business and a house and 3 kids together. You're like,
you know what? And every marriage that I've seen as a kid growing up just has never lasted.
Yeah.
Everybody's always getting a divorce. So every like, you know, in my family, like my friends, my parents' friends, everybody that I've seen happy and in love, they've gotten a divorce. So I'm just like, I'm not really pressed on getting married. I really would hate to get married and spend all this money and then spend money to get divorced. And so I've just never like really pressed him about it. And then I just can't figure out how and where I'm going to have my wedding, because I have a huge family of country bumpkins that are not coming to Los Angeles, California. I'm going to tell you that now. And so he's like, well, if they want to see your wedding, they better bring their ass out here. And this is this. I'm like, they're not coming out there. So I think we should have a big, nice Texas country wedding. And then all of our friends from Los Angeles that want to be there, they can come.
yeah,
And so
I would like that.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be cool. He's like, no, we're not doing that. I'd rather get married at the courthouse and then we can have a big reception in LA. If your family doesn't want to get out here, then it's just on them.
So you guys are basically fighting about your wedding.
Yeah, we're basically fighting. But you guys, you looked at places.
We were trying to look at places, Monica and I, and it was just total fail. We had like 3 scheduled. The first one was a catfish, totally ugly. The second one, it was like going to take 2 hours to get there. They called us and told us like, oh, one of the locations can't be viewed today. So we were like, fuck that. The third one, which was the one that we really wanted to go to, they were like, we're not taking any more bookings indefinitely, but they might be taking one more booking. So we're going to go look at it on Monday. So we'll see. I'm like not in a rush either. Like the only thing pressing me to be like, go get married is like, I want to eventually get pregnant again. So I'm like, I should probably maybe get married before I get pregnant again, so I don't walk down the aisle with a bump. But like, I also, it doesn't really matter, because I think before I had kids, I probably would have been rushing to get married just to get pregnant, because I cared more about having kids.
Yeah, me too. And I grew up in like a really like Christian home, and my grandma and my mom would always preach to me that you need to be married before you have sex, you need to be married before you have kids. And I just didn't follow suit.
You were like, fuck that.
None of that. And so even my grandma, still to this day, she is 90 years old. And when we just went there in June, she was like, well, when is T-Rell going to marry you? Because I'd like to see you married before I'm not here anymore.
Oh my God.
And it made me so sad, because I feel like she's just an angel on earth. And she's not even my real grandma. She just like took my mom in when my mom was 15 years old. She had like took her in. It was her best friend's mom, and we just always called her my grandma because she was like a second mom to my mom. And so I want to like make her happy and, you know, give, you know, I think she was sent here from God and put into our life to basically like be him and like teach us like the way, you know, to be, because that was her agenda. I'm like, I think until I get married is when she'll finally pass away.
She can't rest until she
can't
sees
rest
it.
Until her mission on this earth is complete.
You guys should have a mini wedding just for her in
Texas. For her. I would love to do that.
Like close, intimate, just for her, just so she sees it.
I would love to do that. I'm like, she's still alive because whatever God sent her here for is not done. And I'm like, I'm part of it. Yeah. I don't know what other missions he has her on, because she's impacted so many people's life. Like she all her kids, she wasn't able to have kids. She only had sex with one guy in her life.
Oh my God.
She wasn't able to have kids, so she adopted 2 kids.
Wow.
And she's just like, you know, they're like not, one of them is just not the best. And she's just been taken through a lot of stuff that she shouldn't have been taken to, and just exposed to a lot of stuff that I don't think that she should have been exposed to, being God's angel. So I know she has a purpose for everybody. And one of them is me getting married. But he just, I don't know. But I
have a little Texas wedding.
Yeah.
We're going to a wedding in Texas in a few months. My personal trainer, she lives here in LA, but she's from Texas too. And she's like, her whole family's there. So they're just going to go have a fun Texas wedding.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen soon.
Yeah.
I'm going to wear a cowgirl hat.
Yeah.
You can wear a cowboy hat, white, all white.
You got to get some cowgirl boots.
Yeah. That'll be cute.
I feel like everyone wants me to ask you this, because when you Google Heather Sanders, there's a lot of like famous names that come up. You know, you obviously have had relationships with Kylie, Jordan, Blac Chyna, I saw a video of you and Blac Chyna. What do you want to say about this? I mean, I feel like people are constantly trying to press you, follow you, the Hollywood fix, and ask you all sorts of questions.
I know. I mean, because when you Google Heather Sanders, that's what comes up, and I hate it. Like, I hate that when you Google me. I mean, I got a PR to get some stuff about me being a businesswoman and like some write-ups and stuff on Google, because I was so mad Googling Heather Sanders and all that came up was the Blac Chyna incident and just like, you know, being Kylie's friend. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, well, who am I? Like, it's nothing about me starting Sorella or me just being the businesswoman that I am. So I'm like, can you help me get some like write-ups and stuff? So she did help me. So hopefully that's a little bit on Google, but I know like my biggest internet presence is those two. And I just hate that the Chyna fight is still like on the internet and like there forever.
Are you guys on good terms now?
We're not, I mean, we're okay.
Can you explain the tree? Because basically I don't understand how you guys became friends and what the beef is.
So Tyga was like, I'm going to get her. Like, he showed T-Rell. He's like, I'm going to get this girl. Look at her. Look how pretty she is. Look how bomb she is. She's in Miami. We go there next week. I'm going to get her. And I'm like, okay.
He had a plan.
Yeah, he had a plan. So we went into the strip club and we were all there. And he's like, where's Chyna? Like, asking like everybody, where's Chyna? Oh, wow. And they're like, oh, she's in the back. She, you know, you got to pay her this much to come out. And so he's like,
she was already famous as a stripper, like on her own way.
Well, I think it's because Drake, in her own way. And Drake had like shouted her out. So she was like popping. And so he was like, okay, here's the money. Go get her. And she came out and she was we were all just like, whoa, like she's beautiful. Like has this long blonde hair and this bomb body. And she was just like crazy, like, you know, on the pole. And so ever since then, I mean, it was just history from there. Like, he took her literally that night and she never came back, I don't think.
Oh my God.
And then me just being around T-Rell and him.
So there's like another girl in the group that you could basically hang out with.
Yeah, basically. And we were they were around each other every day. And so we were around each other every day. And like, we were cool. But then she's just crazy. She's just crazy. She's just wild. And we're a little bit different people. And I just some crazy stuff happened. And I'm just like, I can't do it anymore. And so we kind of just separated ourselves. And then we never really like talked about why we like separated ourselves.
Was it because they separated, or was
it was before.
Okay.
It was just because I was like, I just can't come over here anymore. Like, I don't want to be around it anymore. So I was just separating myself, and we never talked about like why, or like we never had like that closure. Mm-hmm. And so she thought I was talking about her on Snapchat one day, I guess. And she just started like going in on me. And so I'm like, well, I'm not going to sit back and let you go in on me. I'm going to go in on you too, because I was holding everything in too. And I never talked to anybody about it. I was just talking to T-Rell. Like, not even Tyga knew that we had issues. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm sure he just was like, why isn't Heather over here? But he never knew that we had issues and why. So yeah, that night was just, I was like, I gotta let her have it, because she's on here saying some crazy shit about me, and I just can't sit back and not say anything. But everything that I was saying was the truth. Everything she was saying, I don't know, but everything I was saying was the truth. And it was just,
me and Monica were texting back and forth about it. I was like, wait, what does this mean? Like, I was like, I have no idea what they're talking about.
We were like, what are the yellow pills that make you sweat?
Yeah. I'm like, I want that.
Oh my God. I mean, it's finner me. And you know, people still to this day are like, what are the yellow pills? Like, are you taking the yellow pills again or whatever? But she didn't know about the pills. And they're
basically weight loss pills.
They're basically like, they make you lose your appetite, but they make you fucking crazy, and they make you have the worst attitude because you're starving.
Okay.
And you don't eat. And yeah. But
and she was fighting with you about who told who about what? Like, who put who on to what pills?
I mean,
or it just got thrown in there. I was like,
got thrown in there because I was a fat friend. Oh. And I never was.
So she was trying to make fun of you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like, oh, you only lost weight because of this or whatever, which is fine, you know, but she wanted to take them too, because everybody wants to improve themselves, you know? And I didn't tell her what I was taking. And then I finally told her, and she just uses it against me.
You, yeah.
But I mean, I was a kid, and I just hate that I gave her that energy of me on the internet, because when people Google me and They look me up. They think that that's what I am. But it's just a lot of history built behind that and why I reacted like that. But we saw each other at a BET award party in like 2019, and I was like terrified.
Really?
And I'm like, fuck, Chyna's here. I'm like, fuck, what do I do? Are we gonna fight? Because last thing I checked, it was on site when I saw Chyna, and I thought it was the same with her. And I'm like, I'm about to have to fight.
Oh no.
And so I was accepting an award that they were giving me at a BET party, and I was there for that. And I'm like, I'm not about to be fighting her. So T-Rell like walked past, and she was like, hey T-Rell. And he was like, what's up? Like, he's all nice, you know? And so he's like, oh yeah, just talk to Chyna, like go over there and holler at her. I'm like, no. I'm not going over there and holler at her so she can sock me out. And then, you know, we talked or whatever, and we said like a couple things. It was weird because we had seen each other probably like 3-4 years later after that Snapchat thing.
Yeah.
And that was the first time that we ever saw each other. And she just apologized, and I apologized too. And she told me that like, you have beautiful kids, and like, I'm so happy like with like, you know, the woman that you became to be. Cause she knew me when I was like, I didn't have kids, I didn't have business, anything. And, you know, she gave me my props there, and I appreciated it. And then like just recently she's liked like my reels and like my pictures and stuff, and
the
I'm
anger
just, like,
has dissipated.
I think it's like yeah, finally
the dust settled
years later, because at a time we were friends.
Yeah.
And like, you know, she taught me a lot, and I'll never downplay that, because the reason why like I started coloring my hair and like getting into like the long hair and like the beauty stuff is because I looked at her and I looked up to her, because I was never into that. I was a girl from Texas, super regular, and you know, she was like this like beautiful, you know, girl. She knew how to do her makeup, her hair. She was like put together very well.
Yeah.
And so she kind of taught me that, and she had brought the girl over to like do my blue hair. And I feel like she thought that she just was like neat. Like she was the reason why I popped off, because I told you to do your hair blue. And that's fine. Like, I'll give props to where props are due. Like, yeah, you did help me. And like you gave me like a different wave that I wasn't on. Like you put me onto that. But I took it from there, you know, just like T-Rell, like he put up the money for Sorella, but I took it from there. And it's just like, you have to give me my props too.
It couldn't have been done without your effort as well.
Like give me my props too for, you helped me, but I caught on, and I knew how to keep it going. And, you know, so, I mean, I guess we're okay.
You're okay. You're on good terms.
Yeah.
Kind of. But when people look you up, that's what they see, which is unfortunate, because
I don't think we'll ever be friends again. But yeah, we're okay. And I hope she's, you know, doing the best
I was trying to figure out what your relationships were based on the No Jumper Reddit, and the comment section is not a good place to learn about your relationships, because everyone's like, well, this is why these people hate each other, and these people used to be friends, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, I don't know, but I don't know if I should ask her. I don't want to seem like a weirdo trying to like figure out.
Yeah, it was a big thing, like, oh, like you stopped being Chyna's friend when, you know, Kylie came around or whatever. But it wasn't like that. We were already like not really that close anymore.
Okay.
In the midst of that time. So
but people just want to say
that, which is fine, you know, and I don't feel like I have to prove myself or say anything with that.
But then so you met Kylie in the same way because she was dating Tyga? Yeah,
just like being around, you know, at different parties with T-Rell and him, we would run into her, and we'd just see each other more and more. And I followed her on Instagram, and I think when I commented on her blue hair, and I was like, oh, I love your blue hair. And she was just like, oh, like she said something back too. And she's like, oh, I love yours or whatever. And then after that, I think when we saw each other next again in person, like we kind of felt a little more comfortable around each other. And then we got close when I got pregnant with Zane, and she got pregnant. And
the same time.
Mm-hmm. And then we just, her and him weren't even together anymore. Mm-hmm. And we just grew our relationship like on our own from there.
And you guys are still friends?
Yeah, we're still friends. We're still good.
Okay, cool. There is a YouTube comedian named GIVING JiDion, who was doing a funny video in Beverly Hills, and you happened to be there doing a photo shoot for Sorella, and he got in your face. And unfortunately it went viral.
Yeah. I'm so happy that I can speak on this because fighting his fans on the internet is just not it. I didn't know he had so many fans and they attacked me. And I feel like I had to grow my TikTok presence because I was not on. I had a couple videos on TikTok, but my TikTok started blowing up after that day. And I'm like, what is happening on my TikTok notifications? I don't have any TikTok notifications.
People were tagging you.
JiDion owns you. JiDion, we got millions. It's giving bozo. This is this. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, what is happening? I'm like, oh no. And then I looked up who he was and I'm like, fuck, he's a fucking YouTuber. He's a comedian. He jokes. This is what he does for a living. And I fed into it. But
so for those who don't know, he was getting in Heather's face and he was just joking. He kept being like, you guys want to do a TikTok collab? I got 1,000 on TikTok, blah, blah, blah. He has like almost 4 million on TikTok right now. But Heather got pissed and you were like acting like you were going to fight him, calling him names.
I wanted to because first of all, we're just trying to shoot on Rodeo Drive and it's just already hectic trying to shoot over there without the cops trying to tell you to move, the parking people trying to tell you to move, everybody just trying to ruin your whole shoot basically the whole day. So we were there, nobody was messing with us. I went across the street to park the car and it was just the models and the photographer over there. And then I saw this guy walking over there and then he was just saying stuff to them. And so they're fighting with him first. And I'm like, oh my God, like I feel like it's my job to protect
the models.
Like I'm the boss here. Like I have to protect the models. Like, you know, so I went over there trying to like diffuse the situation, like get away from us. We're trying to shoot. We're trying to work, whatever. And then one of the model's friends that was saying, oh, we got millions and you have like thousands or whatever he was saying was one of the model's friends. And everything he said backfired on me. And so everybody was commenting under my TikTok, oh, you have millions. It's giving bozo. You don't have no millions. This is this. I'm like, I never said I had millions.
Because you have like nothing on TikTok, you're saying, nothing. At the time, because you just weren't on the platform.
Yeah, I had like 19,000 followers at this time. And so I'm like, I have to get on the internet. I have to get on TikTok because these people don't know me. Like my Instagram followers, like I feel like the people that follow me have like followed me from a long time and like really are like invested into me like as a person. And I don't think I have followers because like of a different person or whatever. I feel like all my followers are truly like my friends and like here for me. So I'm like, these people don't know me. It's all these people. I got to get on TikTok. I have to do something because I'm getting views. Like my TikToks that I did had like hundreds of thousands of views from his fans. I'm like, I got to post something. I have to make it.
So they were all following you.
Like the best of it. Well, I got followers. I got comments. I got likes. I got hate comments. I was like, it's going. Like
it's just engagement.
Yeah, it's just engagement. So I'm like, I have to post something. And I was posting stuff and they were still comment all that stuff. But he just had me so mad because I literally had just gave birth probably like I gave myself 6 weeks. So I was like right after that 6 weeks, probably like my 7th, 8th week postpartum, I was out there trying to shoot and he was like messing with me and my models and he was so annoying and so like I don't even know the word, but just so like
it was not what you needed when you're first coming back to work.
And I'm just like, leave us alone. Like, why are you so pressed? But if I knew he was trying to get viral footage, I understand. But I'm like, he's a fucking crackhead. Like, get your crackhead ass away. Like, what are you doing?
You never know whose YouTube video you might end up in when you're walking around in LA. Like, you see people everywhere you go. I go to the nail salon. I see girls making TikToks at the nail salon. And I'm like, you don't know how many followers that girl has. No. You might be in the back of a TikTok looking stupid. And she's got millions of followers. For real. You were the victim of a YouTube video.
I was. And I hate it so much because.
Did you ever talk to him?
No, I never did. But T-Rell DM'd him and he was like, yeah, like that, like, what did he call me? Big body? He's like, that big body girl is my wife. And he was like, oh, like, I'm sorry, whatever. T-Rell's like, no, like, it's fine. Like, it's funny. And I was fighting with T-Rell that night. I'm like, why the fuck would you DM him and say it's fucking funny and laugh with him about me? I'm like, because nothing about me is on the internet. Yeah. Like, nothing except the bad stuff. And so I'm like, for this to be on the internet with me acting like this again, I had the China situation, I'm acting crazy. Like, I'm like, people are going to think that this is all I am, crazy. And
he was
so,
provoking you, though. I feel like everyone could give you credit there.
No,
like
for
you're
sure.
working.
He just kept on and kept on and kept on, and I wanted to fucking smash that camera. I should have smashed it and stepped on it. That's how mad I was. And the friend, thank God I had him, because he was like the only man I had around me, even though he was gay or whatever. But he was like really taking up for me, and like, you know,
you're lucky that you had him, because when he
am.
said it's giving bozo, it took all of the attention away from what you said, and it went to the meme of it's giving bozo.
Yeah,
and I just talk about it all the time with Monica now. I'm like, it's giving bozo.
It's giving bozo. That's sad. Oh my God. But they ended up doing a TikTok video together.
They did a whole vlog together. It was like 20 minutes. He picks him up. He goes and gets a BB gun from the Nerf gun from the store. He's like, you said you got it on you. I got to get it on me. Yeah. It was like a whole thing.
I was like, you're going to do a TikTok with this fool and then not even call me and ask me to do a TikTok. I'm like, you could at least come up to Sorella and give it. I mean, since you're so big, like come up to Sorella and we can redo it again or something.
So you would do a JiDion collab now? Would you want to?
Not now.
No,
I mean, but maybe in the midst of that, yeah. But T-Rell, I was pissed and I was like crying and I was just like, me on the fucking internet. I'm so fat. I'm yelling. Like, why am I like, I'm so mad I did that. My phone was blowing up. My cousins from Texas, like my uncles, like like people that I didn't even think that were supposed to see that saw that. And I'm like, oh my God, this is just a nightmare. But T-Rell was like, it's fine. Like, let's turn it into a positive. Like, you know, make TikToks. Like, this is a time to like grow. Like,
did you duet the TikTok?
No.
You should duet the TikTok with your new body.
I know,
like,
right?
Fuck you, big body.
I should. But you know what? That's what put the fuel under my fire. Fuel to my fire, because I was so big and I was on the internet like that, and so many people were calling me big body under my Instagram.
Oh, that's so
under my TikTok, and I was so like, fuck everything else. He was calling me fat, and I was fat at the time.
But you were 6 weeks postpartum.
I know, but still. And I'm like, I have to get myself back. But that's how I felt with the Chyna thing too. She was like, oh, you don't have no knees, you fat bitch or whatever. And I'm just like, that's when I started like really getting myself together after that. And it's sad that it takes people to, say that to you for you to like realize and like want to do something about it.
Yeah.
But it was those 2 times, and I'm like, this JiDion fucking fool has me fucked up. But I'm about to be on TikTok, and I'm about to lose weight, and I'm about to really get myself together, because I just hated seeing myself like that. And I could never watch it. Like, if you played it, I could never watch it. Like, I can't look at myself, and I can't look at what I was saying. I'm just so embarrassed. You
gotta give yourself grace.
And I just really thought that he was with Hollywood Fix. I really thought he was with the Hollywood Fix. And
you're trying to call the Hollywood Fix.
I'm trying to call
it. Like, don't ask for Ryan.
I'm like trying to call this guy and like, T-Rell, don't you know him? Like, tell him something. I don't know. Like, call the Hollywood Fix guy. His worker is harassing me. And he wasn't even with the Hollywood Fix. I was just it was just so embarrassing. And I'm like,
I'm so sorry, because I'm like now a fan of JiDion because of his content, and he has these merch shirts say professional raw dogger, and I want one, even though there's no reason for me to have one.
So then he was like, I called T-Rell's like, here's the guy from Hollywood Fix number. He was like, call him and like, tell him the guy's name or whatever. And I was like, hey, like, does this guy work for you? Because I'm about to beat his ass. He's like, no, I don't have anybody over there in that section, Heather. He's like, but where are you? Like, do you have time to like do like an interview or something? I'm like, no. I was like, I look crazy. Bye. Like, what are you talking about? Like, no, I don't do an interview for the Hollywood Fix.
Let me use this as an opportunity.
Yeah, let me use this as an opportunity. But I hate that I reacted like I did. But I'm like, whatever. He deserved it, I guess. He was harassing us. It was so annoying. And I hate Adam for doing an interview without me there. I'm like, why?
He really should have brought you out. That would have been amazing.
I'm like, why did you not tell me to be here? I could have popped out. Like, we could have been fighting. Like, your views could have went up. Have you lost your mind?
Confronting.
And I'm like, did you take up for me? He's like, gotta watch video. And I'm like, I'm not watching that video. I still haven't watched it.
I'll watch it and I'll let you know if you come up.
Yeah, let me know. But I have a question for you.
What?
How did you get into like this world that you're in? And like
porn?
Yeah.
Talking about myself feels weird on your interview, but I will answer your question. I was just taking like photos of myself in bikinis on Instagram, and it was back when like it was kind of easier to grow on Instagram, and so like you would hit the explore page and like one time Lil Uzi liked my picture and I got like 50,000 followers. Like it was just easier back then to get followers. And everyone just kept asking me like, do you sell nudes? Like that's literally how I started selling nudes, was because everyone was asking me for them. So then I made a private Snapchat, which was what you get before you do OnlyFans.
Okay.
And I had like maybe less than 100,000 followers at the time, but I made almost 40 grand my first month.
Off Snapchat?
Yeah.
How do you make money on Snapchat?
We used to like charge people like $30 a month to be friends with you on Snapchat, and then you would post nudes to the story and they could see it.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, I had no fake boobs. I just had like whatever. I didn't even wear like really makeup. I would just be like,
yeah. And you're just so comfortable with doing it.
Oh, hell no. I was so nervous.
Oh, okay.
No.
Because I'm just not comfortable at all.
Before I used to do scenes with girls, like once I started doing collaborations or whatever, I would be working with girls who were like really in the industry. They knew what was up. They knew how to shoot. They knew how to pose, everything. When they were coming over, I'd go and take 2 shots of tequila. Like,
yeah. I was going to say, I'm like, I have to ask Lena one day, because I will never forget when Adam was like, Heather's like the non-social sex, or Heather's like the non-sex worker here, like the only sex worker not here or whatever. And I'm like, that's so funny that he said that, because I mean, I'm not a sex worker, but I'm just like, one day I probably would want to like do something crazy. I'm just so like, so dry. I'm so dry. I've never had a threesome. Like I've never kissed a girl, like nothing. And I'm just like, I wonder how Lena got into it.
You've never even kissed a girl?
I've never kissed a girl.
Oh, see, I was like playing spin the bottle and kissing girls.
I was going to say, are you attracted to girls?
I am attracted to girls. I had a girlfriend all of college.
Okay.
But I think I was just always down to try stuff. So like, God, I remember in high school I was hanging out with like the band geeks, and they always wanted to play strip Monopoly. Like, who the fuck plays strip Monopoly? Why were we playing this in high school? The band geeks, like literally like they're like the horniest, nerdiest people ever. But yeah, I think I was just always explorative in a way. But even when we had first, me and Adam would start having threesomes, but it was like we would go out and get drunk and then we'd like hook up with some girl. So, but I was always like pretty tipsy for all of it. Okay. And then once I got comfortable, I was like, okay, I don't need alcohol anymore.
Yeah, I'm like, I'd have to be loaded. And like, it'd have to be like a birthday present or something. But could you
share him?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think you
I just don't think I'm that type of girl. And how do you share him?
Sometimes I'm so lazy. I'm like, God, I wish I could just tell her to suck his dick and I'll leave.
That's me. Like, y'all do y'all thing. I'm out of here.
I'm like, oh, he wants someone on top? That's you.
Yeah.
You go. I'm sitting over here.
You do the work.
Yeah.
But I just think that I would be like so insecure about it. Like, are you not insecure about it? You don't care?
I feel like for the most part, I don't care. But I never work with a girl who makes me feel like, oh, she wants my man. You know what I mean? There's only been a couple girls where I'm like not down to work with them, but it's like, it's just been girls who I've known have talked shit about me. Yeah. Kind of thing. Not like, I don't think anyone thinks they're gonna like steal Adam. Like maybe in the beginning when I was like his new girlfriend, but I think now everyone knows like we're engaged, we have a kid together, whatever. And I think most girls who try to hook up with us, they really just want like the views or like the income on their OnlyFans. I don't think they really have any ulterior motives, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
That's so crazy. I'm just like, I don't know how they do it. And I will never forget, we were at your baby's birthday, and Terrell's like, did you know that this girl that was right there, she bought the Gucci outfit or whatever, that she's like the biggest porn star ever? I'm like,
she's huge. Tiana Trump. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, wait, what? No, it's not her. It was Riley Reid.
Oh, Riley Reid. Yeah, Riley Reid's big.
And he's like, this is Riley Reid. I'm like, that's her. She looked like so wholesome.
I
and
know.
Like, I'm like, I would never think that she did that or whatever. But I'm just like,
she was pregnant that day, and now she has her baby. Her baby was born like almost the day before my sister's baby was born.
Oh,
I saw them yesterday. Yeah. All the porn girls having babies.
Oh my God. I'm just like, a part of me wishes that I could like do that and like do that with Terrell and like have fun and like let loose like for
But
a night.
Would you do just like sexy photos on an OnlyFans?
Oh yeah. I mean, that's what I used to do if you ever Googled me, right?
I did Google you, but I was wondering.
I
found a photo of you with a guy that looks like T-Rell.
We were going to put it on the screen. And she was like, I don't know.
I don't know if I want to show her that. But like, I was like, what is this?
Well, thanks to Adam in Melvin's room, he sent it in the group chat, and she was like, what the fuck is this, bro? I'm like, what do you mean? What is what? And he's like, what is this picture? He's like, did you ever do a video? Before he showed me, he's like, did you ever do a video like with soap or like with this dark ass nigga, black ass nigga? I'm like, what are you talking about? And he showed me. I'm like, oh my God,
your past is coming back to haunt you.
Fuck, it's finally coming back to haunt me, because that does not ever get brought up, ever. And I just used to be doing video shoots and photo shoots and always in lingerie and trying to do whatever I could.
But for your
to make
website,
it.
right?
I had a website.
See, this is what I was trying to ask you in the beginning. Like, what did you try and fail at before you became...
I mean, I'm not going to say I failed. He saved me from that life because I was full throttle in it. And I was like fucking with celebrities. And like, I was...
But you weren't doing porn though.
No, I never would do that. I mean, I would be terrified to do anything on camera.
You were just
but behind
sexy...
camera, I was getting it cracking. Like I was doing, I mean, I was just having fun and I was young, but I was talking to celebrities and stuff and I could not believe it. But I was taking sexy pictures and because I thought that that's what I had to do to be seen or be noticed. And that was like the cool thing, like Smooth magazine, like all those magazines that all the girls were in and had like 2 pieces on, like lingerie, and just take cute pictures. And I thought that they were it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's what I have to do. So I was trying to do it in Texas and like shoot with all these photographers and do all these, have a website and have people subscribe and do all that before.
Okay. So you were basically doing what I do, but before I did it, like way before I did it.
I know.
Way before anyone did it.
I know. Tyrell's like, you and Lena actually might have a lot in common. He's like, because you were that. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I just never took it to the next level. I'm sure I probably could have, but I never took it.
Once you saw the subscribers and the money go up, it's like me and Adam had a threesome for fun. Yeah. Okay. And then me and the girl who had the threesome for fun, we both had private Snapchats. So we were like, let's sell this. I made 20 grand that day. And I was like, oh, okay. If I have sex, I can make a lot more money.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how you get into it. The sauce, you just get lost in it because it's like, and if I wasn't with Adam, like probably I'd just go all the way and do like crazier and crazier shit because that's how you make
the
more
most
money. Yeah. But I mean, you do burn out at some point. Like it's like once you do a gangbang, what can you do after that?
Okay. So this is what I'd be terrified about because like when I was like considering like working at a strip club, I was just gonna try to be like a waitress or whatever, but I was like, what if my dad was in here or my dad's friends or my uncles or anything? Do you ever feel like, what if my dad sees this?
I mean, my dad knows that I have an online presence and I'm pretty sure he knows what I do, but we just never talk about it.
Never talk about
it.
Talk about it. Yeah, I figured. Because that was like my only thing. And I'm like,
my dad found out that I was like active on Instagram and was like, you need to delete your Instagram and go work at Verizon. They have good benefits. They have really good benefits. Yeah. And I was like, no.
Yeah, so, I'm doing this.
And then we didn't talk for like a year. So yeah.
Yeah. So do you want to do this forever or do you want to stop eventually?
I think I'll do it till the wheels fall off. Like, it's like I'm still making really good money.
This bread, yeah.
I mean, why would I quit as a multimillionaire? It just wouldn't make any sense, And that's like people are like, you have a kid, stop. And it's like, I already did it. My kid is gonna know that I did porn, no matter if I stopped now or if I stopped a year ago. You know what I mean? So I don't really see the point in stopping. And I do think like I'll just want to naturally at some point, like
because I watched yours and Adam's interview when he was on here.
Yeah. Oh, you saw him being super dick to me?
Yeah. And I'm just like, why does she do this for him? Because everybody thinks that he is like the mastermind behind it all. And like, you're just like, just doing it for him. But I'm like, no, she's smart and she's doing it for a reason, not just him. And I'm like, she probably likes to do it. Like, I don't know.
No, I do have fun. I do think that like once you have a billion threesomes, they're not as exciting.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, I was like, it was always fun. And like, we would have a threesome, and then for the week after that, you have like a threesome afterglow, and you together are just so turned on by the threesome that you had before that your sex just gets better, even though no one else is there.
Yeah.
So it is like fun.
Yeah, I'm like, maybe I'll spice it up a little bit sooner or later. I'm like, I'm just so boring. I need to hang out with Lena and learn some new things.
And I'm like, I need to hang out with Heather and figure out how to dress myself. I don't know what to wear.
Oh my God. I mean, that's why Tyrell's like, I think you guys would be great friends, Heather. I'm like, oh my God.
I need a mom friend.
Yeah, me too. Mom friends are always good to have because they understand. Friends that don't have babies, they don't understand like, oh, I can't make it, or oh, I'm not doing this, or you know what I mean? So it's always good to have a mom friend. But yeah, I just kind of am like I kind of like look up to you because I'm like, wow, that's so cool that she could, because I'm not like that like a little fire inside of me is. And then it's just like, well, what is it going to take for that fire to get lit for me to be out here wilding? But it's just like,
but do you think he wants to have threesomes?
Probably.
T-Rell?
I mean, he probably does.
With his hands up, like.
He probably does, but I just like the whole like me going to get the girl, or like, do you pick the girl, or like, am I supposed to pick the girl? And I'm just like, I don't know.
Well, now it's different because we're always working, right? So there's like actually a person who works for Plug Talk who schedules the sex. But before it was like, I want to be texting the girl. I want to know who the girl is. And sometimes I'd be texting with a girl and he'd be like, I just want to let you know that I used to talk to that girl back in the day. We never fucked, but I used to talk to her. And I'd be like, okay, that's fine. Yeah. But like, it was always a lot of honesty about everything, that's, you know?
Good. Yeah, I think y'all's relationship is so cool. I'm like, how do they do this? Like, I could never do this.
I think if you really wanted it, you could. Like, I don't think it's, but I feel like not everyone has to want it. Like, I don't feel like it's something everyone should aspire to do. Like, it's not for everybody, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anybody else in life that does it.
Really?
Besides y'all.
Even in this LA life where, you know,
no,
all these LA
and that's
people?
what I'm saying. I've experienced the LA life, like, the LA life, whatever you think the LA life is, I've done it. I've been to every party, every, you know, whatever, jets, whatever. I've been around it all, but I have not been around this. And I've been around girls that like, you know, are, you know, do whatever they do for money or whatever, but it's different than this because y'all are just so
in a
open.
Relationship.
Yeah,
too.
you're in a relationship. You're open about it. Y'all are making bread and y'all are regular too. Because I'm like, I was scared. I'm like, oh, I'm going to go. Like, I don't know, kind of judging a book by its cover. Like, oh, she's a porn star. She's going to act like this. Or like, how do I act in front of her? Or
I'm a bozo. I'm giving bozo all the time.
And I was just like, it was just like a little weird for me. And I'm like, oh, she's so normal. And she's like so cute. And like, why was I scared?
Well, and I feel like I have the same about you. I'm like, oh, she's Heather Sanders. She has like this crazy business. Yeah. She's been on Instagram for a really long time. And like, what if she doesn't like me? Like,
yeah, I know.
You know?
And I'm like, oh, she's coming around. I'm coming around new like guys, like girlfriend and stuff. Cause I just always have felt the pressure of like, I'm Terrell's girlfriend. I have to be friends with whoever T-Rell is around. I have to be friends with them. And so it's just kind of like, and it hasn't always ended up well. So I'm just like, oh God, I don't know how this is gonna go, but I want to be friends with her.
Oh, I want to be friends with you too. I know. We need to actually make this date happen. When we leave here, we're picking a dinner date. This is gonna happen.
And I'm like, maybe they don't want to talk to me because Adam wants to interview me, and I'm like, I don't feel like I fully know Adam. I mean, I've only like say hi and like that's it. I've never had a conversation with them, and I'm like, he probably doesn't want to have a conversation with me because he's waiting on the interview. And
he is like that.
Yeah, right. He is.
Like, it's weird because we'll have a girl come here for Plug Talk, and we're like, she's so excited to come and talk to us, and I'm like so silent with the girl until we get on camera because I have genuine questions, but I want to keep them genuine. Yeah, you know, and so I don't want to ask them again on camera. Yeah,
I feel like that's how he is with me, and I'm just like, I can't figure him out because I like to figure people out. I like to look at people in their eye. I like to talk. I'm just like a deep like when I'm not the friend that like, oh, we're going to go out to the club. We're going to party. We're going to get so fucked up. Yeah. And like, I'm the friend that like comes over and like, we're so chill. Like we're in our pajamas and we're drinking wine all night or we're out to dinner. Or like, I'm just like that kind of friend. Yeah. So I'm just like, I don't know. Like, does he like me? Or
well,
like,
I feel like you've probably always been around Adam in like his work situation too. So I feel like he acts very different at work. He's like, has his I'm a podcaster hat on. You know what I mean? And then because when he first had the store on Melrose and he would be there working and he'd be in the back. And back then he used to get more nervous about podcasting. I hated talking to him. I was like, he is in his place and like I am not his girlfriend here. I'm just something annoying. Like you know what I mean? And he's gotten a little more like light about it, but I feel like when he's at the No Jumper office, it's like he's in like work mode. Yeah. You know?
And that's so crazy because Terrell's like, we used to see this white boy all the time. He used to always be on this. But I'm like, I have no idea who he is. He
was bald back then, so you probably don't even remember him.
I'm like, I don't even remember seeing him at all. I don't remember anybody talking about him. I don't remember anything. It's so weird. And I'm like, I don't think we've ever met or anything, but I'm like, Adam doesn't want to fully talk to me because he's waiting on the interview for me. And I'm just so terrified to do his interview.
No, don't. But he's like, you got to do Heather first so that it doesn't seem like you're taking my guest. I was like, okay, I'll do the podcast.
He's like, Lena's going to do the nice, sweet shit. And then we're going to do the crazy shit. I'm like, oh God. That's why I'm scared to go on there.
Yeah, but you know, I feel like you're smooth. You can like side sweep these questions.
Well, I'm not even gonna lie. I feel good about today, and I feel like I didn't say anything because I'm like, oh God, what am I gonna say? Like, I'm gonna say something wrong or whatever. No. But I felt like it was all.
And you're a good talker. Like, I feel like you made my job so easy because I at some points I wasn't even talking. I was just listening to you, and I was like, you can go on forever. Yeah. You know how to do this. You're a YouTuber.
I'm not. You're a YouTuber. I'm like, oh my God, Lena has this many views, and you used to hang out with Trisha Paytas.
Trisha Paytas. Yes. I've done a few videos with her. Yeah. I did OnlyFans collab with her. Her first one ever.
Well, T-Rell loves this girl.
He
loves her. He loves her. I'm like, what, you want a threesome with Trisha? Like, with Trisha? I'm like, oh God. But he made me love her because he's like, look at this girl. But he had an OnlyFans and he was only subscribed to her.
Oh my God. Why? Did you watch our video? We have like 5 videos together. Adam has a video with her.
He's like, no.
So you know that I made Adam a Domino's costume, right? And he was acting like he was delivering me and Trisha pizza, and then we fucked him for the pizza because we didn't have our money. Like, that was the concept. And on my interview on the No Jumper podcast, Flacco was like, I got a problem with you. Why did you make my mans fuck Trisha Paytas? And I was like, excuse me?
Oh, Flacco said that?
Yeah, to me. I was like, excuse me. I had fun that day.
Yeah, she just seems so fun. And like, everybody's like, oh, you look like the Black Trisha Paytas. That's how I found out about her.
Oh,
and
really?
They're like, you look like the Black Trisha Paytas. So many girls would tell me that. And I'm like, who is Trisha Paytas? And then I found out, like, I started following her TikTok, and I'm like, wow, I actually like her because she don't give a fuck.
She
gonna eat whatever she want to eat. She gonna get fat. She gonna get lipo. She gonna tell you she got lipo, got fat again. And it's just like real life shit that we all go through. And she's just so comfortable with talking about it.
She's been online for a long, long time. Like, I don't know.
And then he's
15 years or something.
Oh, dang.
Making YouTube for forever. She's been on like a million reality shows too. If you really want to have a good time, go on YouTube and just type in like all the reality shows Trisha's ever been on. And it's like a compilation.
Oh, wow.
She is funny.
I don't know that much about her, but I'm like, he signed up to her OnlyFans, the only girl on his OnlyFans. So I'm like, what is it that he likes about her? So I don't know. I've been intrigued with her, and I just like how real she is.
Were you just curious, or you really into her?
I was just curious.
Okay.
Why though? Like, what made you curious to go after Trisha?
Because she looks like the white version of you.
Yeah. I'm like, do you think that I look like her? And no, he likes thick girls. And that's why he never like really cared when I was getting fat or like my fattest, because he likes thicker girls.
We need more T-Rells in the world.
Yeah. And he's so skinny, and like I don't know.
I'm like always convinced that Adam's favorite type of girl is like a 95-pound Asian girl. So in the beginning when we'd have threesomes, I'd be like, in my head, I was like, no 95-pound Asian girls. That's what Adam likes. Because, you know, he always like goth chicks. Like that was what he was into. So I was just like, oh, he must like a super skinny chick. I still am convinced he does. But now I just don't care. I'm like, fuck it. He picked me.
So what were you doing before? I'm just so interested. Like, what were you doing before you met Adam? Like, were you talking to any guys like that were like big or anything? No? Yeah.
Oh, if I talk about who I've had sex with on here or who I've talked to on here, Adam would be like, cut the part of the interview. Adam knows everything about my sexual past because he was kind of like, well, I'm in this industry, so you have to tell me if you've worked or slept with.
That's how we were too.
Yeah, which makes sense. I was like, I get it, but you can't get mad at me if I tell you, kind of thing, you know? So he knows. But I was like working at a social media company, helping girls get bigger on their social media, and that's kind of when I just started taking pictures of myself and realized like, oh, I could just leave and make money on my own. But I have a degree. I like worked with kids who have autism. Like I was going a totally different direction. I was like gonna keep on the academic path and maybe get my PhD and be like a really boring person.
Yeah, right. This is a way better life than that.
It's better hours and definitely more creative.
Yeah, I think y'all have such a cool. I think it's just so cool. I've never met anybody that's doing what y'all do. I think it's just so tight as like to have a partner that's just so down to do it.
I feel like you guys have that same thing.
We do. I mean, we can probably do this.
Heather's gonna start an OnlyFans by the time this podcast comes out.
Lena's gonna manage me. Fuck Adam.
Hey, you can just post your feet if you want.
I know. I'm like, does anybody see a mom bod or some feet or some big ass boobs or whatever? Because I'll get on OnlyFans because these girls are making money.
Oh, yeah.
They're making money. I'm like, I will get my ass on OnlyFans. I will. I have no shame in my game. I'm like, I'm missing out on money not being on here. And then I see y'all and I'm like, T-Rell, what are we doing?
Do you approve of the OnlyFans?
Let's do it.
He don't care.
All right, you guys. There's going to be an OnlyFans coming up. Subscribe.
He was, I was like, when I met him, they didn't have a TV in their house. And I was like, I had like some tricks that I was talking to, and I had the trick buy an 80-something inch TV on Best Buy and ship it to that address in California when I lived in Texas, and I had their ass a new TV. I'm like, how are you with Tyga and y'all ain't got no TV? I'm like, what the fuck y'all got going on?
I didn't even know they made 86-inch TVs.
Yeah.
That's so big.
Yeah, me too.
86-inch TV.
Well, it was 50 or something. It was a TV. They didn't have it, and I got it. And
So was he mad about how you got it?
no, he knew what I did. Like, he knew. Well, I always worked, but I also had guys that would give me stuff too, and I worked it, and I like furnished my whole house. Like, I had a house at the time that my dad left me, and he was like, as long as you can keep the lights on or whatever, like, you can live here. It was like going in foreclosure or whatever. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm going to ride it out for as long as I can. But I had got like all this furniture, and I was giving my mom money, and I'm like, wow, like I'm really like making money off these guys. And it's scary now that I think about it, because I'm like, what the fuck was I doing? Meeting up with random guys and like doing whatever. And
I always thought about doing that like way before I did what I do now. But it's just like, I don't think I could actually do it. I was too scared.
Yeah, I'm like, I'd meet these guys and just like, what if they were like killers or like whatever? I just meet these guys off the internet and just like, ugh, it was weird. But I mean, God had a different plan for me. And Terrell's like, I saved your life. You were out here wilding. Nobody wanted to fuck with you, and you were just doing all this, and I saved your life. And I'm like, okay.
They just want to take credit for us.
Yeah,
you know.
they do.
And I know Adam made me start a podcast, so when it gets successful, he could say it was all him. No, I'm just kidding. But he really did want me to have something outside of the porn stuff or whatever. And like, I have a YouTube channel, and I wasn't uploading. And he was like, you got to make consistent content. It's like all he does is upload 1 million YouTube videos a day, and I'm over here just like, it's because I overthink things. I'm like, no one wants to hear what I have to say, or no one wants to watch my YouTube videos.
That's me too. But you get a lot of views on your YouTube. I'm like, wow, she's popping on her YouTube. Because you turn your YouTube page into this page.
It's the same. Yeah. I just kept it the same because I was like, what's the point of making a separate page with no subscribers?
I'm like, oh my God, 1.2 million subscribers. Oh God.
Oh,
no,
you'll be
scared.
fine. So it's like my audience is 80% male, 20% female, but my podcast audience is opposite.
Okay.
And because it's the opposite, the girls are just so positive, and they're so nice, and they like everything I put out. And I almost hate it, because I'm like, you guys need to give me some constructive criticism. But they're just like, we love what you're doing. And I'm like, I'm not supposed to be good at this yet. I just started, you know? But I do appreciate it, because also if they were really mean to me, I'd probably stop doing it.
Yeah, for sure. I know. I'm paying attention to every comment and everything too. But
So we're almost 3 hours in. Do you feel ready? Do you feel ready to stop this podcast?
I love it. I could do it. I understand why Terrell can do this every Wednesday. It's not bad, but we can stop if you want.
You got to have her on more.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, everybody was saying that I had the best episode on At the End of the Day.
I watched some clips from that. That was pretty funny.
I watched it.
It was cool. They need a girl, huh?
Oh, absolutely. They need a girl.
girl.
They need some feminine energy. I used to listen to the No Jumper Show every week, and now I don't. Obviously, I'm doing bedtime at the same time, so there's that.
Yeah, it's
but
hard. I know.
I'm like,
I used to try to tune in and be like, oh, I'm supportive. Everybody go watch. And now I'm like, I can't. I have to take care of 3 kids in this house and get everybody ready for bed and bath and do all this. I can't watch them screaming. And then they just scream and laugh and joke. I'm like, I can't watch these fools. I'm out of here.
yeah, it's a lot of that. Okay, so we're going to have Heather make an OnlyFans. We're going to convince Heather to go on more podcasts. And we're going to post all your stuff in the description. So you have your Instagram, your TikTok, your OnlyFans maybe, your YouTube channel. You guys are vlogging.
Yes.
Is there anything else you want to talk about? Your nail line?
So Money for Nails for all the flyest nail and gel polishes. Sorella for anything that you need to wear. We got you. Yeah, watch our YouTube channel. We do family vlogs. We're pretty cute. And
Very cute.
follow me on TikTok. I'm trying to get my TikTok followers up.
Thank you guys so much for listening to Touchy Subject. And if you made it all the way here, please give us 5 stars in whatever app you're listening to, or like and subscribe on YouTube. Thank you guys so much. Have a good day on purpose, and bye.
Bye.